but it also was a nightmare off the field. And he might have matured in his time away from the game. He had all the talent in the world. He was on his way to being Super Bowl MVP with the Rams had he not torn his ACL in that game. He had been brilliant against the Bengals in that game. And now we are at a point where he has just never been the same player since that injury, and it's time to move on. And while we might see him in the last preseason game to get him some more run so that he can have some more tape for somebody else to look at, that's all that is. Odell Beckham cannot be on the roster. And I don't think Odell Beckham is going to be on the Giants practice squad either. 800-919-3776. Let go of that fantasy. Let's get to calls early and get you involved in the show at 800-919-3776. Also want you to be involved over on the ESPN New York YouTube chat. You can watch the show. We have an ESPN New York YouTube channel. I think you could join that right now. You could watch, you could make comments, and you could be a part of the program. I think these are all good things to be thinking about. 800-919-3776. Let us begin with Ira in Staten Island. Good morning, Ira.
Hey, good morning, Chris. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
That's good. I heard earlier that you had an interesting softball game Saturday night.
Yeah, that's a way to put it.
It's a good one. So getting to Gino. Listen, what he did out there is kind of what you would expect from a guy who's been in the league over 10 years. He was efficient. He was commanded a huddle. Of course, there's no game planning, offensive, defense. So he went out and he did what he needed to do. The only thing with Klubnik, I think he showed that he still has a ways to go of learning, because I felt I'm forget about the grounding. He just looked, he was under a lot of pressure. He was holding on to the ball just a little long, but I think he was a little more flustered than he was in week one. And of course, as you go into the season,
I mean, that's going to happen.
It's going to happen, right? But in my books, depending on the wins and losses and where the team is at, you want to get Klubnik, about a half a dozen games if things play out that way, because then I think at that point he's only going to get better. And your point about Frank Wright is perfect. And who knows? I mean, sometimes miracles happen. Brock Purdy popped out of nowhere. If Klubnik
but this is the thing I would stress, Ira, is that Klubnik's not popping out of nowhere. This is 2 years ago where he was going to be potentially the number one pick. And then he had a bad senior year. And I told you or last year, I should say. And there were certainly people who were opponents of Clemson that thought that offensive coaching staff was completely lost with what they were asking Klubnik to do.
Yeah, I mean, watching jet quarterbacks over the last 2 dozen years, there's something about Klubnik. Listen, he may never turn into be a starter. Who knows? But he shows the leadership qualities. He shows he somewhat has a command of what's going on out there, getting the plays in and out. And I got to see more. Is he going to continue to get flustered? I don't think so. I think with the right coaching and the right experience and learning, I think the Jets might have something with this kid.
Yeah, listen, I'm optimistic about it to the point where I'm saying that I believe there will come a point in the season, and I don't know specifically when, but I would not be shocked if it's by the middle of the season, that Klubnik is actually giving you a better chance to win than Gino. Now, that's probably saying a little bit more about where Gino is at this moment than where Klubnik is, but Klubnik's got some talent, and the Jets are very high on what they've seen so far. David and Elizabeth, what's up, D? How you doing, brother?
What's going on, Chef? Chef, I'm saving that picture of you swinging at the softball game. I'm going to keep that as, your display picture, as a contact picture.
Yeah, please don't do that.
Fire. You may not like it.
Please don't do that.
You may not like it, but I love it.
So I posted a picture that Don emailed out pictures to everybody who participated in the Mark Sasso softball game up in Hawthorne, New Jersey the other day, which was, people continue to show up and do an amazing job in raising money for that. And it's always a lot of fun. But I haven't played softball since the last time I played in that, which was probably 5 years ago. And in my first at-bat, I swung at the first pitch and just pounded it right into the ground, right back to the pitcher, and grounded into a 1-5-3 double play. Think about that for a second. 1-5-3. So the pitcher turned, threw it to third base, and then the third baseman threw it across the diamond. Now, listen, was I busting it out of the box? I was not. But then when you're a fat guy and you realize there's a chance you might get doubled up, you start to try to pick up the speed a little bit, and at that point, the horse was out of the barn.
Hey, man, at the end of the day, it's all the effort that counts, baby. It's the effort that counts. Man, I wish I should have been there. All right, this is what I want to get at, right? Because, I'm always talking Jets all the time, but there's a conundrum I have, right? Do you think that what's similar, like with the Raiders and the Jets at the tight end position, like, for an example, they drafted Brock Bowers. You don't hear Michael Mayer anymore. In our situation, we have Mason Taylor, who I think is a decent tight end, and we have Sadiq, who we haven't seen what he's going to bring to the table yet. Do you think it's going to be similar in that way? Because you don't hear Michael Mayer anymore, and I think he's an all right tight end.
I love Sadiq as a player, but we have to actually see him because Brock Bowers made that situation what it is. He came in as such a high-level player and performed amazingly as a rookie that Sadiq would have to do something similar to that for you to have Mason Taylor get completely lost like that. And we haven't seen him yet, so that's the only problem.
Definitely. One last thing I want to say, too, I don't know what's going on with Cooper Jr., Like not for nothing, he's getting outbeat by Isaiah Williams. Is
yep.
It? Isaiah Williams. Yeah, he's getting beat by him, and not for nothing. Yeah, I just want to see the guys trend in the right direction. But him being a neophyte and a rookie, you'd think that he would come in and stand on business immediately and try to make a name for himself, or at least try to show productivity. But I'm not going against him right now. Maybe he just needs some more reps or some more times because I heard he's dropping balls and he's not finishing some of his routes. So we'll see what happens there, Chef.
Yeah, listen, appreciate it, David. Thanks for checking in, brother. Here's the thing I'd say about that. I would not get too worked up by it yet. Sometimes rookies take longer than others. That's all there is to it. And so if Cooper is taking longer to develop than others, then it'll just take a little bit more time. I mean, for instance, if we're being truthful about it, A.D. Mitchell looks pretty good with the Jets right now, and he's, in his third year? He looks like somebody that never developed with the Colts, and maybe he's going to get a chance to do that here. I'm certainly optimistic about that. Apparently we had some issues early in the show with the YouTube feed, but you're welcome. Everything is fine. And now you can see me on the ESPN New York YouTube channel, and you can also leave your comments in there as well, including one person who says, your OBJ take is awful. That from Boxed Lunch 36. I myself have never enjoyed a boxed lunch. If I'm presented with a boxed lunch, that means I'm probably not getting the greatest option out of a sandwich. I'm ending up with a flimsy bag of chips, likely plain. Maybe I get a cookie out of it. Maybe. But boxed lunch, generally speaking, not my speed. So for you to say Boxed Lunch 36, that my take is awful, well, I would say that your name is awful. It's Carlin, ESPN New York.
This is Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg.
There needs to be an intervention.
I agree.
And this is coming from a Met fan, and I get it. I'm not telling you to get rid of Mr. Met. He's a part of the fabric of the Mets, but you don't have to make him a part of every damn thing you do. The kids love it. Great. But when Senga's established himself as a closer, Steve Gelbis is trying to break news, we don't need to dance in Mr. Met as if he's vital to everything that's going on.
Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg. Weekdays at 3 on 880 ESPN and the ESPN New York app.
prizes, flyaways, even cash money. You want it? We've got it. Find a list of all contests and official rules by visiting ESPNNewYorkContests.com.
That's ESPNNewYorkContests.com.
BQE backups, 2 crashes. They're both going westbound 278, southbound BQE. One near Morgan Avenue, another near Wythe Avenue with lane blockages. In Queens, Cross Island Parkway, southbound Bell Boulevard area, an accident blocking one lane. Harlem River Drive going northbound up to the GW Bridge. You're backed up for the 150s. Deegan is better. That's all tied in with construction work. Outbound George Washington Bridge being set up onto the apartments. In New Jersey, 1 and 9 southbound Tunley Avenue at County Road. It's construction work. In Fairfield County, Merritt Parkway north and southbound delays at Route 124 Trumbull area, right lane construction northbound, and the LIE still a big tie-up westbound side that's coming in toward Dix Hills with an accident. 3 lanes are closed at exit 51. I'm Bob Williams on 880 ESPN New York.
Hey Yankees and Knicks fans, come out to Yankee Stadium on Friday, September 25th and be ready to receive a very special giveaway. It's Josh Hart Yankees Bobblehead Night, presented by Delta Airlines. The first 18,000 guests will receive a Josh Hart Yankees bobblehead. Again, don't miss Josh Hart Yankees Bobblehead Night, presented by Delta Airlines, when the Yankees face the Orioles on Friday, September 25th. For tickets, log on to Yankees.com/tickets.
There you were, surrounded by fans. Everybody remembers the game. Nobody remembers the guy coughing behind you. Till a few days later, at 2 a.m., you wake up with a fever and your throat's on fire. Now what? Urgent care? Closed. ER? Slammed. Telehealth? Maybe, but the pharmacy's closed. You needed a medical emergency kit. These aren't first aid kits. They contain essential prescriptions used for over 30 common conditions: sinus and ear infection, UTIs, stomach bugs, traveler's diarrhea, and more on hand before you need them. Use your doctor-developed guidebook to select the right prescription or call their telemedicine doctor standing by. It's like an urgent care and drugstore at home. When you're sick, traveling, or stranded, you'll wish you'd ordered a medical emergency kit. Order online in minutes and it's shipped to your door. And save $45 with my promo code 880 at urgentcarekit.com/880. That's promo code 880 at urgentcarekit.com/880.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today. 1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Ready to get rid of that old car? Donate it to Cars for Kids. Call 877 Cars for Kids to speak to a friendly live agent. Donation is super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Go to carsforkids.org now or call 877 Cars for Kids to donate your car today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids.
Did you know you can donate real estate too? Go to carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K.
I'm David Ortiz. When I lost my mom, she was only 46. And I lost my dad to cancer. It was the worst pain I ever felt. It made me think, what will happen with the people I love when my time is up? That's why I have life insurance. Ethos makes it easy. It's all online, take about 10 minutes, and you can get up to $3 million in coverage.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/game. That's ethos.com/game. Paid testimonial. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Chris Canty here. Football season is back, and Lids has you covered. Just in time for kickoff. Want the latest headwear to rep your team at the tailgate, at the barbecue, or at the game? Shop the 47 brand NFL collection. Exclusively in store at your local Lids. This collection puts a new spin on retro NFL gear. Lids has every fan covered with all 32 teams, featuring the big-time hits and alternate team logos. You'll find the perfect fit for every Sunday. Selection may vary by store.
Big news, big news for the New York sports fan. DiPietro and Rothenberg and Hahn and Rosenberg are coming to MSG Network. Starting Tuesday, September 8th, catch our morning and afternoon shows simulcasted across MSG Network's television and digital platforms. You can still catch them on 880 AM, the ESPN New York app, YouTube, and more, but we're beyond excited to start simulcasting on MSG Networks, which will give our shows an even bigger platform to reach our fans. Don't miss out. It's starting September the 8th on MSG Networks. Carlin, ESPN New York at 800-919-3776. Get involved over on the ESPN New York YouTube chat as well. You heard Jordan run on this morning talking about where we stand with Malik Neighbors, and it continues to sound as if he will be ready to go week one, and that's exceptionally exciting. I just wonder, like at this point, we're sitting 3 weeks out from the start of the season, and now you're not going to see any more, I would think, of Jackson Dart or starters in preseason games. You'll see them in practices, but that's about it. And so I wouldn't think that you'd see Dart later this week. As much as we're talking about Neighbors and Dart and how explosive that can be, let's also remember that there has to be some chemistry that is built up there between the two. And so that's going to take some time as well. That's where I'm really curious as to where Neighbors is going to be when he gets back. What does he look like? All things sound very positive about where he is and about where they expect him to be. But I would also say that you have to understand this is probably not coming right out of the gate and being explosive immediately. This is probably taking a little bit of time. So I would make sure that you have leveled expectations for what the beginning of this is going to be. 800-919-3776. Breaking news is presented by Boost Mobile. Boost Mobile, don't overpay. Get unlimited talk, text, and data for $25 a month. Forever, for life, for real. Switch now at boostmobile.com. Our breaking news this morning is that after a disastrous weekend in every way, his play and then his press conferences, the Cleveland Browns still, in their inimitable wisdom, decided to make Deshaun Watson their starting quarterback for week one in Jacksonville. Just fold the franchise. Just to remind you, this is Watson the other day on being booed by Cleveland fans.
Man, I didn't have no reaction. I think the biggest thing is, I think you guys know too, and I think the whole world knows, it has nothing to do about the performance. It's a little bit personal than that, so it's a disrespectful thing. I'm going to keep whatever I feel with me and my family internally on how I feel about that, and yeah, just move on. Last time I played on this field, I tore my Achilles, and that same fan base, they cheered when I got hurt. What does that have to do with anything about performance? Person get hurt, especially for your own city, and they cheer.
He's not wrong about when that happened for those fans that were cheering when he tore his Achilles. Obviously, that's just inexcusable behavior. But everybody needs to just get a clean break here. All right? Deshaun Watson is never going to lead the Cleveland Browns anywhere. This is a massive, massive $252 million mistake that was made by the owner 4 years ago. And in making that move, Jimmy Haslam has pretty much told everybody else, I don't care what our coaches think, what our GM thinks, what anybody thinks. I paid this guy $252 million guaranteed, fully, even after all of the allegations of assault from the 20-some massage therapists that came forward, still decided, you know what? This guy doesn't want to play in Cleveland, and I will give him every dollar guaranteed to get him to come here at $50 million a year. I got news for you. In case you haven't seen, Deshaun Watson can't play anymore. He couldn't play really his first couple of years in Cleveland. He wasn't very good at all. And he has not been a serviceable quarterback since he was in Houston. That's 5 years ago now. Everybody will talk about the fact that the guy had a chance to throw for 5,000 yards. That's fantastic. That's great. That's 5 years ago now. It is long gone. If you watched any of the Browns the other day, you saw someone that was completely shaken, that had no idea what he was doing out there. And when he says it has nothing to do with the performance, he's dead wrong. He's dead wrong. Do I need to remind you that when the Browns actually made the trade to go and get Deshaun Watson, there were polls put out on ESPN Cleveland. There were callers all over the place that were so heavily in favor of making the move. They were that desperate to get a quarterback that they would not have a problem with their owner trading everything that he did, giving $252 million guaranteed, and not even paying a lick of attention to any of the allegations that were there against Watson. There is a time to move on and to let somebody move on. But if you're a Browns fan and you're the same dumbass that was calling in and cheering for Watson and for the trade at the time, then you're getting what you deserve. You're getting what you deserve. But the Browns as an organization, seriously. Jet fans, you're not the worst. You're not the worst. They are. They're the worst. That's the worst organization I have ever seen in how they run things. It's staggeringly bad. Staggeringly bad. And this was all the owner who is shelling out $50 million one more year and is already forcing him down everybody's throat. You can't sit there and tell me that Todd Monken, after what happened the other day, wants Deshaun Watson even on the team. How could he? This was him on the quarterback battle the other day.
I still have a few things to weigh out. I'm not going to get into that, but we anticipate naming the starter tomorrow.
In other words, when the owner calls me to tell me who he wants starting, that's who will start. This decision for Monken is the first that's going to lead to his eventual firing. And right out of the gate, this is a complete and utter nightmare for the Cleveland sports fan. Now, if you were one of the ones that back then had no problem with anything that had happened and was fully on board, and you have gotten nothing but kicked in the groin, ironically, over the last few years, well, you're getting what you deserve. But now, at least, if you're the owner, be able to admit a mistake. And he can't do it. You can't tell me, after hearing a quarterback say all those things, after what he said before that, with his play on the field, as bad as it was, you can't tell me that that's the guy you want leading the way, let alone on the team. Not in any way. Deshaun Watson's career should be over, but the Browns are throwing him an absolute gift. I don't know if it's about Sanders. I don't know what it's about other than the fact that it's another $50 million out of Jimmy Haslam's pocket this year. And you know what? I am never going to admit defeat in that trade. Well, it's about time, Jimmy. Holy crap. The loser of all losers in Cleveland. Carlin, 800-919-3776. Also over on the ESPN New York YouTube channel. And I'll get some of those comments in as well. Get your comments in the chat. That's what the chat's there for. It's on the way, including your calls at 800-919-3776.
ESPN New York and MSG Network are joining forces.
Big news, Jazz hands.
Start your mornings with DiPietro and Rothenberg, live on the MSG Network. Then stick around for Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg, live on MSG every afternoon.
We are beyond excited to start simulcasting on MSG Networks.
So think about this real quick second. You got us in the morning 6 to 10. You got our afternoon show 3 to 7. And then right after that, you're talking Knicks, you're talking Rangers.
Yo, yeah. You wake up, you pop it on again, and there we are, waiting for you. Good morning.
ESPN New York and MSG Network, together like never before. It all starts Tuesday, September 8th.
If you're living with neck pain, back pain, sciatica, migraines, nerve pain, or chronic joint pain, you don't have to just live with it. I'm Michael Kay. I want to introduce you to Dr. Jay Shah at Sandwell Pain. Dr. Shah is Ivy League trained, double board certified, and specializes in non-surgical, image-guided treatments that help get to the source of your pain. With convenient offices in Woodbridge, Livingston, and Englewood, expert care is never far away. So if pain is keeping you from doing the things that you love this summer, take the first step toward relief. Visit SandwellPain.com to book your appointment online.
Hey, New York and New Jersey, Boost Mobile has an unlimited talk, text, and data plan that's only $25 a month forever, meaning you'll only ever pay $25 a month for the rest of your life. Who wouldn't want unlimited wireless when it only costs $25 a month forever? If you don't, you must be one of those people who enjoy overpaying for their phone plan. $25 a month forever is truly as good as it gets, so go online and switch now at boostmobile.com. After 30 gigabytes, customers may experience slower speeds. Customers will pay $25 a month as long as they remain active on the Boost Mobile Unlimited plan.
Summer isn't over yet. On Saturday, August 29th, the Red Bulls face the Philadelphia Union at Sports Illustrated Stadium for Anime Night, presented by New Jersey Lottery. Arrive early for the Boulevard at 4 p.m. for food trucks, games, family fun, and a free matchday poster while supplies last. When gates open, fans can grab one of 10,000 UGO card packs. Kickoff is at 7:30 p.m. Bring your crew and make it a night to remember. Get tickets at NewYorkRedBulls.com.
This is the Michael Kay Show.
Take a look around Major League Baseball, and the Yankees are a lot closer to perfect than most of the teams that are supposedly real championship contenders. And I'll say this with no equivocation whatsoever. If the Yankees were healthy with their running it back philosophy that everybody kicked around, they'd be running it back and running over the competition.
The Michael Kay Show, weekdays at 1 on ESPN New York and streaming live on YouTube. Presented by the Parisman Firm.
Okay, all signed up. Easy. Now let's run payroll. What the? Hey girl, I'm you with more gusto. Nice. Who's that? New social media manager, hired and onboarded with gusto. And spoiler, we're kind of famous now. Wait, we're famous? Oh, well, I'm famous. Payroll, benefits, and HR. Designed and built for small businesses. Choose a future with gusto.
Reese Davis here. When the pressure's on, you find out who's ready and who's not. Same goes for the job site. The work doesn't slow down when conditions get tough, and you need tools that can finish strong.
That's why DeWalt tests its tools under real-world conditions that push even the best to their limit. Only then does a tool earn the DeWalt badge. They're built to perform again and again, like they did on the first use. DeWalt, guaranteed tough. Available at the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
Congratulations, New York. The Knicks did it. Through battle after battle, they dominated to become this year's NBA champions. Day in and day out, the hard work paid off. And you were there every step of the way. Enjoy the crown. Own it, because this year is your year. A part of your legacy that will never be forgotten. So celebrate this moment, show your pride, and shop the largest selection of official NBA gear at NBAstore.com. A Fanatics experience.
Soulful Dad checking in. Browns are not a serious franchise.
You are not serious people.
They're really not. I mean, you just talk about continuing to run yourselves into the ground. It's amazing. NY Vice, Shedeur Sanders has one of the worst attitudes I've ever seen from a quarterback that has accomplished nothing. Actually, and also throwing in Spark, that arrogance is holding him back. I would disagree with all of that. Sanders, for everything that you want to say, at the very least, if you're that franchise, why wouldn't you give Sanders this season to play? If you're planning on trying to lose anyway, you can talk about whatever you want, whether or not they should have drafted him. There's no doubt to me that playing Sanders gives you a better chance to win than playing Deshaun Watson at this point. Guys, it's over for Deshaun Watson. And after what happened the other day on the field and then off, I would have cut him. And not just because it was such a bad thing for him to say, because we all understand what happened. But, dude, if you had played much better, that town was begging you to be great. They wanted you to be great in the worst way when you got there because they were all cheering for the trade when it happened. They were all willing to trade away any sort of morality problems that they had with it in order to win. And you know what? I get it. It's Cleveland. The Browns haven't won since the 60s. Why wouldn't you? I'm not saying it's a good thing, but why wouldn't they? A lot of what has happened with Deshaun Watson, we could talk about all the positive things he's tried to do in the community. When you had the baggage that you did coming in, and the team and the town especially wanted to embrace you in every way they possibly could, and you instead play horrible football, you miss another year with miss another entire season plus with injury. What do you expect to happen? What do you expect? They were inexcusable in booing him, those who did, when he got injured. Inexcusable. But booing him for the play? You were bad the other day. You looked rattled. You looked like somebody whose career is over. But no, because you're the Cleveland Browns, you're starting week 1. Danny in Long Island. Danny, what's up, buddy?
Danny, who's hiking through South Carolina as we speak.
Really?
This wonderful. Yes, I just finished off a bowl of grits for breakfast, topped with bacon, cheese, and scallions.
Oh.
They have no idea how to do vegetables or salads down here, but you give them meat or grits, it's heaven.
You know what? I have no problem with anything you just said right there. Whatever.
You know, my son number 1, I have 4. He moved down here with 2 of my grandchildren, so I'm a regular visitor to the grit world.
Outstanding.
Like Pesci said. What's the grit? But listen, you know, when we were in elementary school, they used to give us these like little tests, like a comparison. You'd say like, Jets are to New England what Cleveland is to the Steelers. You know, like these little exams where you know what an opposite was.
Yeah.
And as a Steeler fan, we may thank God that the Cleveland Browns exist because I think the booing is a culmination of all of the above. The NFL fans will forgive you for just about any crime, sadly, if you score touchdowns.
Yes.
You know, we've seen this before. People get so they didn't start booing him right away. They booed him because he stinks, and on top of the injury, and on top of the record. But how about the coach? You have a 5-year contract, maybe a 4-year contract. I can't. Why don't you say to the owner, no, I'm starting this guy. Fire me if you want, but I'm starting Sanders because he's at least as good. He's young. He didn't really get a fair. He's an idiot. I don't like Sanders either, his mouth. But when he came in last year, he was better than what they had, and he was thrown into the fire. I mean, it's almost like P.T. Barnum that him and his father pulled this off. Think about that. He changed colleges. He coached him twice. He built up his reputation. And then you get to the NFL, you're not that good. But he wasn't that bad. I've seen worse under the pressure that he was thrown in. There was some signs that he could be a quarterback. So how about the coach with a contract tells the owner, hey, listen, I'm the coach of the team. You want to fire me? Fire me. Because if he goes with Sanders and he's proven correct, then he's the hero and he won't be fired. If he goes with Watson and Watson stinks, he's getting fired anyway. So stand up for what you believe in, and you have the contract in your pocket. He wants to fire you. He's going to pay you a lot of money. And the rest of the NFL community will stand up and cheer for you for being the right thing, and you'll be hired. So how about the coach just standing up?
But I listen, I don't disagree with that. That in theory he should, and we don't know what the conversations were behind the scenes. The one thing I would disagree with you about, Danny, though, is that you'd say that he's going to get hired again. Just remember the owners. The owners are always going to side with other owners in those kinds of situations, unless you're an outlier type owner. Now, Monken, when your boss tells you what to do, what are you supposed to do? Because in one way, if you don't do what your owner tells you to do or what your boss tells you to do, isn't that insubordination? Can he fire you then for cause? Probably could. I guarantee you this, all right? If Monken tried to do that, if Jimmy Haslam's had this conversation with Monken and it went like this: Haslam, we're starting Deshaun. Monken, no, we're not. I'm not doing it. I'm not starting him. We cannot start him. He shouldn't even be on the team anymore. Haslam, we're starting Deshaun. Then Monken says, fire me. I'm not doing it. Well, you're technically saying you're not doing what your boss is telling you to do. That's insubordination, depending on what the definition is in his contract. And then the owner, who has more resources than any coach does, is going to do whatever he has to do to not pay that coach. Or to at least not have to pay him the full amount, that's for sure. And then you become a pariah among other owners when you don't do what he wants. Those guys all stick together, boy. They all stick together. 800-919-3776, 800-919-ESPN. More on this. Dan Graziano will get into Jets and Giants, and we will find out the latest behind this decision in moments with Dan. He, of course, ESPN NFL Insider.
Good Karma Sports is proud to be an equal opportunity employer, providing equal employment, development, and advancement opportunities to all teammates and applicants. To learn more about careers with Good Karma Sports, please send an email to talentacquisition@goodkarmasports.com. That's talentacquisition@goodkarmasports.com.
Hey Yankees fans, gather a group of 10 or more and take advantage of our 2026 Yankees group ticket specials. Whether you're getting together with family and friends, organizing a fundraiser, or entertaining clients, your group will love bonding over the Bronx Bombers. Start planning your 2026 group outings today. Log on to Yankees.com/groups. Call 212-YANKEES or email us at groups@Yankees.com. That's 2026 group tickets. Call 212-YANKEES or visit Yankees.com/groups today.
There you were, surrounded by fans. Everybody remembers the game. Nobody remembers the guy coughing behind you. Till a few days later, at 2 a.m., you wake up with a fever and your throat's on fire. Now what? Urgent care? Closed. ER? Slammed. Telehealth? Maybe, but the pharmacy's closed. You needed a medical emergency kit. These aren't first aid kits. They contain essential prescriptions used for over 30 common conditions: sinus and ear infection, UTIs, stomach bugs, traveler's diarrhea, and more on hand before you need them. Use your doctor-developed guidebook to select the right prescription or call their telemedicine doctor standing by. It's like an urgent care and drugstore at home. When you're sick, traveling, or stranded, you'll wish you'd ordered a medical emergency kit. Order online in minutes and it's shipped to your door. And save $45 with my promo code 880 at urgentcarekit.com/880. That's promo code 880 at urgentcarekit.com/880.
This is DiPietro and Rothenberg.
RJ started the group chat. In the first 48 hours of a group chat, pound for pound, that is probably one of the most quiet group chats that I've ever been affiliated with. Now, is that a poor reflection on us? That maybe we're not bringing anything to the table? Because there was maybe like one text.
I will take
in 2
blame
days.
because I was in LBI and I was trying to enjoy the day.
This is DiPietro and Rothenberg.
I could banter with myself.
Excuse me?
Yeah.
Morning Start with DiPietro and Rothenberg. Weekdays from 6 to 10 on ESPN New York and streaming live on YouTube.
Okay, all signed up. Easy. Now let's run payroll. What the? Hey girl, I'm you with more gusto. Nice. Who's that? New social media manager, hired and onboarded with gusto. And spoiler, we're kind of famous now. Wait, we're famous? Oh, well, I'm famous. Payroll, benefits, and HR. Designed and built for small businesses. Choose a future with gusto.
Reese Davis here. When the pressure's on, you find out who's ready and who's not. Same goes for the job site. The work doesn't slow down when conditions get tough, and you need tools that can finish strong.
That's why DeWalt tests its tools under real-world conditions that push even the best to their limit. Only then does a tool earn the DeWalt badge. They're built to perform again and again, like they did on the first use. DeWalt, guaranteed tough. Available at the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
ESPN New York is your home for the world champion New York Knicks. WHSQ and WCBS-FM HD2, New York. This is Carlin.
You know I am not that bright.
On ESPN New York.
Fat bald nasally, I got it.
And streaming live on YouTube.
You're welcome. Dan Graziano, ESPN NFL Insider, joining us. It's Carlin, ESPN New York, on the ESPN New York YouTube channel, where you can comment on the show, 800-919-3776. We get into all things Jets, Giants, and the news of the day in the league, that Deshaun Watson will be the starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns, which is just mind-boggling. Dan joins us right now. Dan, good to have you with us. How are you?
I'm good. Chris, how you doing?
Good. Shocked, frankly. Shocked that Deshaun Watson – I thought that when I saw breaking news, Dan, I thought it was a lot more likely that Deshaun Watson was getting cut today than being named starter for Week 1. What was your reaction when you saw it?
Well, that's the thing, though. They can't cut him because they've restructured the contract so many times that the dead money hit would be like $127 million. So nobody could take that on. And so he's got to be on the team. And I guess throughout the course of the offseason, everything we were told was that he was in the lead. And I guess the performance Saturday, both on the field and at the podium, didn't do enough to change that. So, I'm, I guess, surprised, but also it's the Browns and sort of Browns going to Brown type of thing. And they just kind of, I don't know, it's just they cannot get this thing right ever since really forever. I mean, certainly since they, moved the team to Baltimore and then regenerated in Cleveland, they really haven't been able to get quarterback right at all. So, odds are pretty good that both guys end up playing some this year, and they draft a guy next year, and hopefully for their sake this time it works.
It's hard to know when you have a new coach what the dynamic is going to be there, but do you think this was fully a Monken decision, or was this Jimmy Haslam refusing to admit defeat on something that clearly left the board a long time ago?
I think you have a new head coach, to take the decision out of his hands, I think would be even for the Browns just kind of preposterous. And I really believe Todd Monken would sound different in some of these press conferences if that were the case. He's a first-time head coach. He's not a young one. He's waited a long time for this chance, and if he really believes that Deshaun Watson gives him a better chance to win games than Shadur Sanders does, then I'm sure he is on board with this decision. And frankly, I mean, there's a case to be made. Neither one seems to have been dazzling and made the decision easy. So if you're on balance, you convince yourself Deshaun Watson gives us a better chance to win in week one than as the head coach who, again, has waited a very long time for his chance to be a head coach and would like to win some games, probably not interested in just doing a rebuild. You're going to put the guy in that gives you the better chance to win. It's certainly conceivable that Deshaun Watson netted out as that.
Last one on this, Dan, is just when he has the comments that he does after the game the other day.
Yeah.
I think there is a selective memory because we had all kinds of calls and all kinds of people and polls and everything coming out of Cleveland that had those fans 65 to 75% in favor of making the move when they did because they had been so desperate for a quarterback no matter what the circumstances were. So for me, I understand Watson being frustrated when fans were booing him when he got hurt, but this does have an awful lot to do with his play over the last couple of years as well because they were dying for him to be the guy.
Of course it does. And for him to say it doesn't is either him just sort of, just either being completely tone deaf or completely ignorant to the circumstances. You're absolutely right. There was a large segment of the Cleveland fan base that was upset when they got him because of all the circumstances that accompanied him there that resulted in him being suspended 11 games. Why are we turning our franchise over to this guy, guaranteeing him all this money? But had he played well, I do believe that a lot of that would have faded. Not all of it, and to a large extent, the allegations of sexual misconduct by 27 women will stick to him and should. But in terms of the football fans, I believe the city of Cleveland would have been more forgiving had he played better. He hasn't. He's played a grand total of 19 games over the first 4 years of the worst contract anyone's ever given out in NFL history. And now they're going to make him the starter heading into the final year of the contract. What's the upside? There's no way he could do anything to make them re-sign him after this year. So, take a look at Shedeur Sanders and see if maybe there's something there before you go into next year's draft. It's just it's a very difficult decision to defend, to get behind, to try and explain to the Browns fans who have just been getting kicked in the teeth for years and years and years by their own franchise, and this is just one more. It's kind of 3 weeks to the start of the season. You want to get fired up. It's got to be pretty tough in Cleveland today.
Dan Graziano, ESPN NFL Insider, joining us. I saw your segment on SportsCenter the other day. We do Monday, overreaction, not an overreaction, and you were particularly high on the possibility of the Jets' offense being much better this year. Lay out your case.
Yeah, so going back to just even as far back as the Combine, talking to people with various teams, who were kind of in the quarterback market, a lot of people seem to think Geno Smith's struggles last year had more to do with the offense he was in and the circumstances he was in Las Vegas than it did with him. I had, quarterback coaches from teams that were kind of looking around saying, his tape is actually pretty good when you look at the throws. So there's reason for Jets fans to believe they'll get more out of Geno Smith than the Raiders did. I think Garrett Wilson, A.D. Mitchell has apparently had a great offseason. Breece Hall, all the money they committed to him, they think he's going to be an explosive player, and they have weapons around Geno. They go deep at running back. They're excited, obviously, about the rookie tight end. Once he gets healthy, they've invested resources, high-end resources in the offensive line. I don't think it's far-fetched to think that the Jets might have a kind of a cool offense if the people that I was talking to all offseason about Geno Smith are correct. Now, Geno is mid-30s, and there's going to come a time where he just can't do it anymore. And if that time has, in fact, come, then none of this is going to make any sense in a few weeks. But I do believe that if he does play better than he played in Vegas, and there are reasons you can convince yourself that he might, that he's got the tools to be in charge of a pretty interesting offense.
Defensively, Dan, how much better are they going to be? Are they going to be better with Aaron Glenn calling the plays now? And he is a head coach because now he wasn't great as a head coach in year one for sure with some of the in-game decisions, and now there's more on his plate than was before.
Yes, and so, maybe he's more comfortable in the rhythm of the game if he's calling the defense as he did, in Detroit. So, a lot of this is going to come down to what lessons Aaron Glenn took from his first year as a head coach and how he applies them going forward. There's obviously a couple different ways that could go, but, he's a smart guy. He's been a good coach. Like, obviously, the landscape's littered with guys who are good coaches but couldn't do it as a head coach, and he could turn out to be one of them. But it's a pivotal year for him, obviously. It's why you can't go into full tank mode and tear the roster down, because you're trying to, A, keep the job, and B, sort of establish a winning culture so that if next year you do get the quarterback of the future, he's not thrust into a sad situation. You want if you draft a quarterback next year and he's your franchise guy, you want him to be coming into a situation that feels good. And that's what I'm saying. Like, the Jets have a chance to be that kind of situation if things break right for them on offense. So, yeah, a lot of it's going to come down defensively. They have pieces. Aaron Glenn knows how to call a defense. Your point is well taken about adding responsibility when it seemed at times last year like the responsibility might have been too much for him. But if he's learned and grown from mistakes and troubles he had in the first year, it's entirely possible that calling the defense puts him back in a comfort zone, and that helps with the rest of the job as well.
And Graziano, ESPN.
I'm being super optimistic.
You really are.
Jets. Like, this is
I mean,
that's, yeah.
You're all over. You got green-colored glasses on today, Dan.
You know what it is? You led with the Browns, and so, like, everything looks better.
It's true.
Than that. So maybe that's it.
Well, I mean, listen, when I started the show today, I was talking about the fact that the Jets and Giants, when you look the last 9 years, have only once combined to have more wins than the team that had the most wins in the league that year. I mean, that's really staggeringly bad. So we can't – I don't know how we could feel any worse about it, so you can be optimistic, which brings us to the Giants. So what has you optimistic about the Giants outside of the obvious culture shift with John Harbaugh?
Yeah, Harbaugh and the veteran coaching staff he's put together, and just the idea that, and this is no offense to anybody who was there before, but they went with a lot of first-time head coaches, right? So with Harbaugh, you don't have to worry, can he be a head coach? Is he up to the job? Or the train's going to run on time? Like, that's all there with Harbaugh. That's gonna be the case. And so that's a good place to just start from. Jackson Dart, for all the other stuff that swirls around him, like, he showed a lot, I thought, his rookie year, that you could base an opinion of, hey, we might have something here. Malik Neighbors, the health news on him has been surprisingly good over the past, 3 weeks. And it sounds like he might be all right this year. They've got, they had a nice draft. Like, Arvell Reese should be an impact player. Like, they're building something. I believe they're still another offseason away from, like, high-level contention in the NFC East, because there's still a Dexter Lawrence-sized hole in the middle of their defensive line. They weren't great at stopping the run last year anyway, and I believe they have some things to sort out on the back end of the defense. And Dart's a young player. Scattaboo's a young player. Neighbors is still a young player. So there's growing pains with those. But I think the operation will be professional and well-run, and these guys will be in a position to develop, and it'll be up to them how they do.
All right, you made your training camp tour recently. Yeah. Give me a couple of the highlights, a couple of the things that are not getting the attention that they should around the league.
Well, let's see. I was at Chargers. Like, that offense is going to be a lot different. Losing the center to injury last week, that was a tough one, because I'm talking to Mike McDaniel, their new coordinator. That was a guy he really identified as kind of key to what he wanted to run. So they got to get a rookie up to speed there. But Justin Herbert could be in position to have a big year if it all comes together in Mike McDaniel's system. So that's something to watch for sure. I was at Rams. Everybody knows what's going on with the Rams, super team, et cetera. Raiders, Mendoza's a guy they really like, but they do not want to play him. Like, they will go with Kirk Cousins week one and in their ideal world for a while they figure out, is the line set, or do we need more work there? Are the receivers set, or do we need more work there? What are we like on defense? So that's a team that's still putting it together, but wants to do it the right way by the rookie quarterback. We'll see. That doesn't always work out. Minnesota, they still hadn't made their decision when I was there. Now it's Kyler Murray, but they think their offense will be better overall because they're overhauling their run game. So they think Kyler can be a part of that, but also it'll help support him. Where else was I? San Francisco, I was there. They barely had 11 guys healthy enough to practice, but they did. No, they should be good. None of the injury concerns, other than Pearsall, who was season-ending, sound like they're too worried about it bleeding into the season. So they should be good. Just a question of whether they can hang with the Rams and the Seahawks. So, and I started out at Chiefs. Mahomes looks good, guys. Like it is. There's reason to believe that Mahomes could be Mahomes out of the gate. And we're back to talking about the group around him as opposed to whether his knee will hold up. So, it's funny. Chiefs flying under the radar is not a place I would have thought we'd be in 2026, but I wonder if they are.
Dan, last one. You look at the AFC. Is it wide open in the AFC right now, or are we still going to be talking about the same teams come Championship Sunday?
I think there's an entirely new batch of teams that has joined the conversation based on last year. So we still expect Buffalo to be good. We still expect Baltimore to be good. We still expect the Chiefs to be good. This was all true a year ago. Houston, you could put in the same bucket. But now we also expect, I think, Jacksonville to be good. I don't think that was a fluke. Denver has won the AFC East and taken it away from the Chiefs. They're a force to be reckoned with. The Chargers we just discussed. Jim Harbaugh is their coach. They're always going to be competitive. The Patriots we weren't looking at last year. So what you've done, that's like the number of legit AFC contenders, high-level AFC contenders, has just about doubled. Cincinnati, if they can keep the quarterback healthy, their defensive improvements have a chance to vault them back to the top of that division. So I think it's intense. Like there are a lot of very good teams you could see coming out of that conference, and I would say it's more than you would have said this time last year, which is exciting. I think it's a lot of fun.
Dan, appreciate it, man. Thanks for a few minutes.
You got it, Chris. Always a pleasure.
You too. That's Dan Graziano, ESPN NFL front office insider. And I asked him that last because that's kind of what I want to get into here for a few minutes. The AFC in what we expect to play out. You know, look at the best rosters in the league. All right? I was listening to Kevin Clark's podcast the other day. If you don't, check it out. This is football. We had him on recently from ESPN and Omaha Productions. And he and Sheil Kapadia, who covers the Eagles and does an Eagles podcast, but a good NFL guy, were going through the best rosters in the league. And they're very hard to argue against. They had the top 5 rosters in the league. And in essence, there really weren't any differences when it talked about the top 5 rosters in the league. There were 3 of them in the NFC and 2 of them in the AFC. The 2 in the AFC were Denver and Buffalo. And in the NFC, it was Detroit, it was still Philadelphia, and it was the Rams. They also had the Seahawks mixed in there too. Here's what I'd say about this. When I look at what's going on in the AFC, you've got 4 very strong teams in the NFC. And if you're going to start to write off the Eagles just yet, I think you really need to pay more attention to what they have defensively. And if you want to write off Jalen Hurts, the idea that Jalen Hurts has just been a passenger in their success over the last several years is just, it's such a fake narrative. I mean, he would have been the MVP in the Super Bowl that they lost, and he obviously was a fantastic performer for them in the season that they're winning the Super Bowl. But I look over at the AFC, and I've got Buffalo and I've got Denver. But are they far and away better than everybody else? I don't know that I can say that. You just heard Dan talk about Kansas City. Now, I won't get excited about Kansas City yet because we saw them fall off as they did But the fall off was happening even prior to Mahomes getting hurt last season. It was starting to look like the Chiefs were losing their fastball a bit. And so I'm going to have some faith in that being the case. I think when you watch Travis Kelce, you understand the issues that they've had with Rashee Rice, with Xavier Worthy, being healthy and all that the Chiefs are not a team that you're going to believe in right away to once again be a dominant team in the AFC. But you can't rule them out. The Chargers with Mike McDaniel. Now, the Biadasz injury at center was a killer, but when you have McDaniel as your offensive coordinator, we understand how great of an offensive play caller he is, and you have Harbaugh as your head coach, and you have Herbert, you have the things in place that are the most important things to be able to contend. Houston has a fantastic defense. That defense last season was so good, it even gave them a chance when C.J. Stroud was playing as poorly as he was. Now, they just lost Jaden Higgins, the receiver, for the season, but that didn't kill them. They're getting Nico Collins back this year. So Houston is once again going to be a problem. Jacksonville is still a very talented team that seems to be on the upswing. I would argue that there's nobody in the AFC North that's really that great, but certainly nobody's ready to throw away the Ravens yet. I think the Ravens take a step back, don't actually make the playoffs. I think the Bengals actually are not nearly as good as people make them out to be. I would have them maybe in a top 10 roster, but the Bengals don't earn your trust until they show they won't screw it up. New England, it's fair to expect them to take a step back when you look at what happened last year and how fortunate they were along the way to get to the Super Bowl. They still got there, but you cannot ignore a team losing its starting quarterback in front of you in the AFC Championship game. You can't ignore that. And New England was a team last season that even though they went out and added A.J. Brown, I wouldn't sit there and say that they are definitively above everybody else in their division, let alone the entire conference. And then there's Buffalo, who I will just not rule out. They never seem to find a way to get over the hump. But if you really had to stake everything on it, who would you take right now out of the AFC to make the Super Bowl? If I just told you, listen, you have to pick a team from the AFC to make the Super Bowl, you have to give me the, not win the whole thing, but just to make it there. Who are you taking? Who are you taking? Probably Buffalo, even though they haven't been able to get over the hump. But it speaks to the quality of the AFC. I want you to listen to all the odds that are there to win the Super Bowl this year, okay? And this is factoring in that you've got a couple of dominant teams seemingly in the NFC. The Rams are the number one favorite to win the Super Bowl at 5-1. Then it's the Bills, number 2, at 10-1. The Seahawks at 12-1. But then you've got 5 AFC teams in a row that are next. Baltimore, the Chargers, the Texans, the Patriots, and the Chiefs. And they're all not separated by a ton. This is just telling you how wide open it is. Baltimore is tied with Seattle at 12-1. Then you've got the Chargers and Texans at 16-1, and the Patriots and Chiefs at 17-1. How about to win the conference? Those 5, 6, 7 teams are all, let's see here, that's 6 teams right there that we just laid out. And that doesn't even have Denver in that discussion. They're all better than 9-1 to win the conference. The Bills are pretty much the same odds to win the championship, to win the Super Bowl, as they are to win the AFC. The Bills are plus 490 to win the AFC and plus 500 to win the Super Bowl. What does that tell you? That tells you the sports betting public believes that the AFC is wide open. Because there are so many of those teams right there with Buffalo that are not far behind, and they're not taking more than 2 teams in the NFC all that seriously. Ray Dinahan, if I asked you, you have to pick a team from the AFC to get to the Super Bowl this year. Is it Buffalo as a no-brainer, or is it, to you, just completely wide open?
I don't think it's completely wide open, and I say that since the 2018 season, there's been 3 times that the Chiefs have not made the Super Bowl. Last year, Patrick Mahomes was injured. They lost to the Bengals in the conference championship in overtime on a field goal, and there was the one other time that they lost. So if I was going to bet and I was confident in Patrick Mahomes healthy, I would bet on the Chiefs.
See, and I would point out, I agree with what you said, in theory, but the Chiefs are in the discussion, but they're viewed the same way as everybody else, kind of. You know, and to that point, Kansas City is the 6th favorite to win the conference right now. The 6th. By the way, Captain Dumbass over here says the Bills are plus 500 to win the Super Bowl. No, the Bills are 10-1 to win the Super Bowl. They are plus 490 to win the conference. The Rams are plus 500 to win the Super Bowl. But the point is, as I move away from that obvious large mistake I made in misspeaking a moment ago to try to draw your attention elsewhere, the point is simply that the AFC is completely wide open this year with these other new teams. And that group did not even include Denver. And it didn't include Denver because people don't believe in Bo Nix. Just would remind you, and they also might be worried about the Jonathan Cooper suspension, but I would just remind you that if Nix doesn't get hurt, Denver's likely in the Super Bowl last year. Likely in the Super Bowl. Boy, I got a lot of good comments coming in on the ESPN New York YouTube chat. Go over there, watch the show, because why wouldn't you want to see the glory of me? In addition to listening as well. It's on YouTube every single day. You're welcome for that. And, of course, the visual is just, it offers so much more. And it gives you the chance to chime in with your comments. And I'm going to get some of those in here very shortly, including 461 makes boom. I would trust Denver. How many times have the Bills fallen apart in the playoffs to think that they would make it this year? There are a lot of teams that you could say that about when you're comparing the Bills to them. Like, you can trust Denver, I get that, but the bigger point is that you don't trust the Bills. You could make that same point about a couple of other teams, about Houston with how good their defense is. You could say that certainly about the Ravens if you wanted to. I personally think that the Ravens will take a bit of a step back this year, but that's just me. And then you could say that still about the Patriots, the team that did go to the Super Bowl. And I think they take a step back this year. 800-919-3776, 800-919-ESPN. Carlin, This in from CJ Skybox. Looking beautiful, Chef. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. I would say, RJ brought this up to me off the air before. We'll talk about the Mark Sasso softball game coming up here in a little bit. But I would say, despite having lost 55 pounds, it's very clear that was the equivalent of throwing the deck chair off the Titanic when I see videos of myself playing softball the other day. It's Carlin on ESPN New York.
This is the Michael Kay Show.
Take a look around Major League Baseball, and the Yankees are a lot closer to perfect than most of the teams that are supposedly real championship contenders. And I'll say this with no equivocation whatsoever. If the Yankees were healthy with their running it back philosophy that everybody kicked around, they'd be running it back and running over the competition.
The Michael Kay Show, weekdays at 1 on ESPN New York and streaming live on YouTube. Presented by the Parisman Firm.
Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today. 1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Ready to get rid of that old car? Donate it to Cars for Kids. Call 877-CARS-4-KIDS to speak to a friendly live agent. Donation is super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Go to carsforkids.org now or call 877-CARS-4-KIDS to donate your car today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids.
Did you know you can donate real estate too? Go to carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K.
Hey, it's Alan Hahn. Upgrade your outdoor living space with TimberTech, the #1 brand in premium decking from Rings End. Picture this, a deck that's the highlight of your backyard, turning heads season after season. Now, imagine 20, 30 years later. It's still going strong. And here's the best part. You haven't spent a moment sanding, staining, or sealing it. Visit your local Rings End for the stunning real wood looks of TimberTech decking, paired with the kind of durability that only advanced engineering can deliver. Backed by industry-leading warranties, TimberTech is the decking that performs for decades. Ask for it locally at Rings End.
Hey guys, it's Peter Rosenberg, and listen, you know me. I'm always honest about what's going on with my life, and recently I've just been dealing with some nagging pain that I've finally decided I wasn't going to ignore anymore. So I ran into my guy, Dr. Jay Shah at Samwell Pain. Decided to set a meeting, and after we talked, I understood why so many people recommend him. He's Ivy League trained, all right? He's the real deal. He's double board certified, and he takes a non-surgical approach to helping people get back to living their lives. If pain is keeping you from enjoying your summer, don't just live with it. Go check out Samwell Pain. Visit samwellpain.com. Trust me.
If you've been injured on a construction site, then you need a lawyer who knows New York's unique labor laws. At the Parisman Firm, they have decades of experience handling construction accident cases and a proven track record of delivering huge results. Their team has already recovered nearly $1 billion for hardworking New Yorkers. From scaffold accidents to slip and falls and equipment failures, they've got your back. Call the Parisman Firm now at 718-WORKERS. That's right, 718-WORKERS, because your case is their cause. Get the justice you deserve today.
At Uline, they know firsthand the road to success is an uphill climb. Uline started in the family basement, and through hard work is now North America's most trusted shipping and industrial supplier. They get what it means to have the support of reliable, hardworking partners. So they keep 41,000 items ready to ship. Whether your company is still in a basement office or expanding cross-country, Uline will be there on your road to success. Visit uline.com.
Kenny here to help you get in on the sweet life with Cotton Candy 5-Hour Energy. It's that classic throwback cotton candy flavor, but with 0 sugar and a 5-hour energy boost. I keep these with me so I can tackle that sweet tooth with a tasty caffeine kick and no guilty sugary aftermath. Bring on the sweetness with Cotton Candy 5-Hour Energy Shots. Available online at 5hourenergy.com or on Amazon.
Do you read more about your team in the off-season than in the season? Does your game day outfit include a brown bag with eye holes? Then you may be a fan of a BST or bad sports team. Luckily, when you bundle your home and auto insurance with Progressive, you're protected. Because seeing your painted face in the rearview mirror after a loss isn't just depressing. It's distracting. Visit Progressive.com today. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Covered subject to policy terms. Not available in all states or situations.
What's more depressing right now? That the Cleveland Browns are starting Deshaun Watson at quarterback in week 1, or at the moment on First Take, Dan Orlovsky and Kevin Clark are about to take us through the Browns' schedule. I love Clark. I love Dan. We already got them at 0-4 as they're going through the schedule. Do we have to go through the Browns' schedule? I kind of think we know where we're going here. They're not one of the more intriguing stories this season. I will say this, and Ray made this point before the show. Thank God this means we can stop treating the Browns like there's some kind of a story. At least they announced who the quarterback's going to be so we can stop talking about that. Not us personally, because we haven't been spending a lot of time. What, he's got him at 1-7 now? Clark's got him at?
And where's that win?
The Jets. Oh, my God. Kevin, you're killing us. You're just absolutely killing us. Does he have him? He's got him losing to the Titans. He's got him losing to the Panthers and Jags, the Saints, but he's got him beating the Jets. 1-8. Come on, bro. You're not helping us. Clark also grew a mustache in, which is like, we're going to have a talk about that, too, the next time. I texted him yesterday because I was listening to his podcast, and he was extolling Ruben Bain. Now, Kevin Clark, as we've talked about before, is a huge University of Miami guy. He went there. He is just a massive fan in every way of University of Miami football. And he's talking about how Ruben Bain is going to be the defensive player of the year at some point in his career and will be the defensive rookie of the year. Can you stop? Can we just stop? Can we stop? Anyway, I'll put that aside. Let's go sideline to sideline.
It's going to happen. This is Sideline to Sideline. Go, go, go.
Ray Dinahan is here. Road Dog checking in. Carlin looks like a spicy meatball, a turkey meatball, that is. No. Listen, I don't care what the whole dietary thing is like. I'm not going to any sort of turkey variation of real meat. Turkey bacon, turkey meatball. None of that crap will you ever have me turning. First of all, turkey meatball and turkey burgers. Turkey burgers, I got a big problem with turkey burgers, Ray, because you can get a good turkey burger and you can get an atrocious one, and you don't know what you're going to get. There, for some reason, is a large variation in what turkey burgers can be. Your thoughts?
I think it's because turkey, for the most part, is kind of flavorless.
Exactly.
So it all depends on what they're flavoring.
Exactly. Turkey is flavorless, thus turkey sucks. Anyway, what say you? What do we got here on a little sideline to sideline?
So sideline to sideline. Welcome to sideline to sideline, everybody. The big news.
By the way, just to clarify, Kevin Clark has the Browns winning 3 games. He's got them beating the Bengals in Week 18. Presumably that game means nothing for Cincinnati. And he's got them beating the Falcons, is that?
That's the Falcons.
Yeah. And the Jets.
The Jets. Of course the Jets.
Of course.
Why wouldn't they beat the Jets?
Of course the Jets. Anyway, go ahead.
So that's the big news out of Cleveland is the Week 1 starter. Other news popping in Cleveland could be the cutting of Daquan Wright. And why would that be news? Because if he is cut, he is signed to go back and play for LSU.
Think about that for a second. Think about what the actual statement of what you're saying. He's getting cut by the Browns, and he's signing with LSU. What? First of all, what does that say about the Browns? Number one, because you're getting cut by the Browns, and then you know what? I'm going back to college. It's basically the same thing. And then secondly, now that's where we are. You have all these lawsuits going on that I can't keep track of of all the players who were trying to get the 5th year of eligibility and the ones who couldn't get it for whatever, now they got injunctions, they got court cases. It's going to be individual on the state level in some spots. So you have a player who is literally in camp not just with the Browns. He had been in camp with the Eagles, too, through the spring. Gets cut twice and is going back to college. What a complete and utter joke this has turned into. Why? The NCAA is such a waste of our time. They cannot grab control of anything. And this is clearly a situation that has the SEC and the Big Ten splitting off here in the next couple of years. There's no doubt in my mind that's going to happen, and there's going to be one Super League and then everybody else. And, it'll end up, I'm sure they'll pluck teams from the Big 12. I'm sure they'll pluck teams from the ACC, but there will be a separate college football league. And maybe there'll be relegation in and out of it, and then you power 4 to group of 5, whatever, if you're bad or whatever. But this is just, it's so absurd that it wasn't that long ago that if a player had a conversation with an agent, not even signed with one, had a conversation with an agent, they could get suspended for college. But now, you literally were in camp. Literally were in camp with 2 different teams, and now you're going back to play at LSU. And you're going to make more at LSU than you would, not even on the practice squad. You'd probably make more than you would on the roster. Anyway, wow.
Lane Kiffin, always on the up and up.
Yeah, exactly. Next.
Moving on to the AFC East, and Mike Vrabel was speaking to the media.
I don't think we have a very deep team, Mike, so I think we have to make sure that we're preparing our football team and that we're doing everything that we can to keep our best players available.
So he says that wasn't really a shot at the front office. He was just saying it was kind of not an excuse, but it's the reason he's not playing starters in the preseason, to develop the depth.
Yeah, listen, I get what he's trying to say, and I actually believe it because I think Vrabel is a big part of the front office, and he went out of his way to make that point today, that, when I talk about the front office, I am the front office with these other guys, with everybody else. But it's interesting for a coach to say in training camp, no matter what, in an explanation, that he doesn't think they're a very deep team. Especially one that just went to the Super Bowl. That's a new one. I haven't heard that before. And to hear him say that, it definitely raised an eyebrow or two for me. Is he just trying to deliver a message to those players that are further down the roster as opposed to the starters who aren't playing, so that, hey, the guys who are fighting for roster spots right now, it's wide open, and you better get your ass in gear because we don't feel like we're very deep at the moment. Other than that, I don't know what the purpose is behind a comment like that. But always know one thing. Coaches always have a purpose behind comments. Next.
And bad news for Kirk Cousins out of Las Vegas, as Ashton Genty has an ankle sprain. Not expected to be long-term, but when there's very few bright spots, when one of them is dim, not good news for the Raiders.
No, the Raiders, there was the moment before the injury yesterday, over the weekend on social media, of a guy who had taken Ashton Genty first overall in his fantasy football draft. And every other owner in the league looked at him like he was a complete and utter moron. And then Genty went down yesterday and couldn't put any weight on his leg. And can you imagine being that guy, and a day later, after social media has completely destroyed you for the choice to begin with, then you lose the guy for the season? Now, they didn't, and it wasn't a torn ACL or Achilles or anything like that, so good for Ashton Genty, but geez, holy cow, you're having a rough go if that's the case. And the Raiders, you heard Graziano earlier, they don't want to play Mendoza early. I actually don't have a problem with that because it's a very un-Raider-like mentality. Let Kirk Cousins go out there and play behind the still although improved, subpar offensive line before we put Mendoza out there. Let's make sure that Mendoza is in the best situation to succeed. I actually like that. Normally, I'd want the guy to play right away, especially when it's somebody who's so further advanced as Mendoza is and has played as many games as he did in college. Anything else?
To close out sideline to sideline, I ask you this. Do you look forward to preseason week 3 and hearing and reading about everybody's kicking competition?
No. I look forward to 3 weeks from now when the season starts. 2.5 weeks to that Wednesday night, to just getting going, starting the year. Just get us there. I know, like, throughout June, early parts of July, we're sitting there. It's the all-star break in baseball. Oh, just get me to training camp. No. Because when you hit training camp, you've got fewer and fewer guys who are playing now in the preseason in the games we actually get to see. They ought to start streaming the practices. Because the practices, the joint practices, are the ones where you actually get more out of it for these teams at the moment. I would watch some of that if I could. I'd actually be interested in that. If teams would stream that on their websites, I would absolutely watch it. That's how much of an NFL loser I am, but I would still do it, Ray.
Yeah, but their downside to that is now there's tape for everybody else.
It's Carlin, ESPN New York, and on the ESPN New York YouTube channel at 800-919-3776. Also get your comments in on the YouTube channel as well. Primo Sabe checking in. I guess Tom Bauer is on vacation. Yeah, Tom's on vacation. Calm down. Eitan Tomlinson, ground turkey spiced up right is good. You can have it, all right? Because you can tell me that all you want, but what you're doing is putting a lot of weight on the spices as opposed to the turkey itself. That tells me the turkey can't carry the day. And if that's the case, you can have your turkey. Carlin, ESPN New York.
There are a million reasons to love New York. Making your budget stretch isn't one of them. According to an independent study, Amazon prices average 14% lower than other retailers. Get food, fashion, furniture, and more shipped straight to your building. Plus, another study found Amazon Prescription Pass customers pay nearly 1/3 less out of pocket. Learn more at aboutamazon.com.
When you manage an active facility, disruption is not an option. Tricon Construction specializes in healthcare, commercial, and industrial environments where work needs to happen without shutting operations down. That takes detailed planning, clear communication, and safe, disciplined execution. Because when patients are inside, tenants are working, or production has to keep moving, every decision matters. Tricon understands how to work around your business professionally, safely, and efficiently. For complex work inside active facilities, choose Tricon Construction. Visit TriconBuilds.com. That's TriconBuilds.com.
This is Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg.
There needs to be an intervention.
I agree.
And this is coming from a Met fan, and I get it. I'm not telling you to get rid of Mr. Met. He's a part of the fabric of the Mets, but you don't have to make him a part of every damn thing you do. The kids love it. Great. But when Senga's established himself as a closer, Steve Gelbis is trying to break news, we don't need to dance in Mr. Met as if like he's vital to everything that's going on.
Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg. Weekdays at 3 on 880 ESPN and the ESPN New York app.
The U.S. Open Tennis Championships are underway, and you can still get in on the excitement. Grab a $30 grounds pass for the Finals Fan Fest, September 12th and 13th in Louis Armstrong Stadium. Experience celebrity arrivals and star-studded viewing parties, hosted by actress and comedian Yvonne Orji and The Bachelor's Joey Grazadeh, plus live DJ sets from Tinks, Lucas, and Summer House's Kyle Cook. Get tickets now at usopen.org.
There you were, surrounded by fans. Everybody remembers the game. Nobody remembers the guy coughing behind you. Till a few days later, at 2 a.m., you wake up with a fever and your throat's on fire. Now what? Urgent care? Closed. ER? Slammed. Telehealth? Maybe, but the pharmacy's closed. You needed a medical emergency kit. These aren't first aid kits. They contain essential prescriptions used for over 30 common conditions. Sinus and ear infection, UTIs, stomach bugs, traveler's diarrhea, and more on hand before you need them. Use your doctor-developed guidebook to select the right prescription or call their telemedicine doctor standing by. It's like an urgent care and drugstore at home. When you're sick, traveling, or stranded, you'll wish you'd ordered a medical emergency kit. Order online in minutes, and it's shipped to your door. And save $45 with my promo code 880 at urgentcarekit.com/880. That's promo code 880 at urgentcarekit.com/880.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/play. That's ethos.com/play. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
If Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea was your best friend, it would be the kind of friend that starts an impromptu dance party in the supermarket aisle that turns into an all-day pool party rager at your place, and you don't even own a pool. Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea turns any day into a legendary adventure. It's smooth and refreshing real iced tea with just the right kick of alcohol. Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea. Keep it twisted.
Twisted Tea Brewing Company, Cincinnati, Ohio. Please drink responsibly.
Congratulations, New York. The Knicks did it. Through battle after battle, they dominated to become this year's NBA champions. Day in and day out, the hard work paid off, and you were there every step of the way. Enjoy the crown. Own it, because this year is your year. A part of your legacy that will never be forgotten. So celebrate this moment, show your pride, and shop the largest selection of official NBA gear at NBAstore.com. A Fanatics experience.
Not great for 49ers owner Jed York, who was arrested over the weekend and then this morning pleaded no contest. He was arrested in Ohio, East Palestine, Ohio, for what is being called possession of criminal tools. I don't know what that is. They haven't really specified that. It is a prostitution-related case. He was arrested over the weekend, pleaded no contest Monday, a disorderly conduct charge. What is possessing criminal tools? I've never even heard of that. It can't be, I mean, it would be, if it was a firearm, it would be a firearm. What is a criminal tool? Legally speaking. Criminal charge when a person has a device, substance, or item intended to be used for an illegal act. Depending on the state, such as Ohio, it is often prosecuted as a misdemeanor or felony depending on the intended crime. All right, whatever. Maybe digital tools. Let's see here. Common examples: burglary tools, theft equipment, digital tools. Computers are specific software used in cyber crimes, fraud, or unlawful data extraction. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, not great. Not great, Bob or Jed. Carlin, ESPN New York on the ESPN New York YouTube channel at 800-919-3776, 800-919-ESPN. So on Saturday in Hawthorne, New Jersey, we had the Mark Sasso charity softball game that Don LaGreca has put on for so many years, raising money in the community of Hawthorne. And that's, of course, his hometown. And he does an amazing job with that every year. And everybody who shows up does a great job with it every year. I've been there, I think, 3 times I've played in the game. This was my 3rd time. Peter was there. Alan was there. Maria Marino was there. You name it. Jared Max was there. Gordon Damer was there. It was awesome to see some of these guys we haven't seen in a bit. Grassa was there. He did an outstanding job. Just really Buttle, of course. By the way, we were having this debate. Ray, I want to get your take on this real quick with Buttle. Every time, now Buttle shows up for Don all the time, loves him to death. But I have this question. This came up, first topic, off the other day. When Don does all the introductions of people, he introduces everybody like a starting lineup almost, and has everybody out there. Joe DiMaggio back in the day would not come to Yankees Old Timers Day unless A, he was introduced last, and B, was introduced as the greatest living Yankee, which brought my mind to every time I've been here, Buttle has been introduced last. Does Greg Buttle have it in his agreement with Don that he is not showing up unless he is introduced last? Like, I'm a little surprised as he was not introduced as the greatest living Jet, if DiMaggio wanted that as greatest living Yankee. But am I wrong to say that there's a possibility that Buttle has it in his agreement with Don that he has to be introduced last?
I would put it highly likely that that is a term for Buttle showing up and being there, is to be introduced last. And his respect for Joe Namath, obviously still breathing our oxygen,
yes,
is why he is not the greatest living Jet.
But basically what you're saying is if Joe kicks, then Buttle...
I think he thinks he's number 2.
Observation number 1 from the day. Observation number 2. I have not played softball since the last time I played in this thing, and it showed. Right out of the gate, did not do any stretching beforehand, but my entire thought process was, we're not getting injured today. We're not getting hurt today. I'm not going to be one of these people who ends up tearing his Achilles doing something that he just should not have been doing. So I wasn't going to be busting it out of the box whatsoever on any ground ball or any ball hit to the gap, anything like that. Long single. Just even thinking I could hit it to the gap. I hit 3 of the weakest ground balls right back to the box, right back to the pitcher that you could possibly hit. And the first one, I came to the plate with first and second and nobody out. And we are playing a team of ringers, guys who have played in a tournament all day long to try to get to the right of playing us for the championship later. And these guys are all unbelievable softball players. And we're out there, a bunch of dopes. And I hit one right back to the box. And I see him, again, first and second, nobody out. I see the pitcher turn to third and fire to the third. And I'm 2 or 3 walking steps out of the box. Because, again, I'm not getting hurt. To when I realize, oh, crap. You could get doubled up here. You could actually, in a softball game, hit into a double play. So I start running down the first base line. Didn't matter. I could have been busting it from Jump Street. From the second I made contact, I was getting doubled up. And frankly, had the third baseman realized that he had a chance at it, there was the possibility that I could have grounded into a triple play. He had time to turn and throw the ball to second and then relay to first to get me. He absolutely had time. That's number 1. Number 2, Don's nephew, Declan, who's probably, I'm guessing he's 10 years old, something like that. Good athlete. Kids out there playing second base, I am playing right field. Now, if there's one thing I could always do, it was track a fly ball. I did catch a fly ball earlier in the game. I'm not going to embarrass myself out there. But there is a pop-up hit between second and right. And I start coming in and did not realize that Declan had taken over at second base. A 10-year-old boy had taken over at second base. And I am chugging in thinking, yeah, you know what? I got a shot at this one. And I look down, and I see Declan moving back to try to get to the ball. And I just think to myself, I do not need the video of me wiping out a 10-year-old kid like George Costanza taking out Bette Midler. And I just looked up. I saw the ball. I saw it was going to take a dive on my part. And I saw the kid, and I said, nope, pulled up, ran off to the side. Go get the ball, kid. And then later, it was just sad how much pain I was in. Just sad how much pain I was in. But again, a great job by everybody who showed up. Peter, Alan, Don doing an amazing job putting this together. Grassa, all these guys who showed up. Dave, Rick, they couldn't be bothered. They were not there. No shocker there. Michael was obviously working, but I've seen Michael come to this thing before after a game. That's how good Michael is about this. And I got another good story about Michael later on today, and another not-so-great story. I got a major problem with him. We will take that up with him next hour on ESPN New York.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Call 877 Cars for Kids to reach a friendly live agent. Donation is super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Call us now or go to carsforkids.org.
7 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Did you know you can donate real estate too?
Hey Yankees and Knicks fans, come out to Yankee Stadium on Friday, September 25th and be ready to receive a very special giveaway. It's Josh Hart Yankees Bobblehead Night, presented by Delta Airlines. The first 18,000 guests will receive a Josh Hart Yankees bobblehead. Again, don't miss Josh Hart Yankees Bobblehead Night, presented by Delta Airlines, when the Yankees face the Orioles on Friday, September 25th. For tickets, log on to Yankees.com/tickets.
ESPN New York, now streaming live on YouTube. Subscribe today and watch the show. WHSQ and WCBS-FM HD2, New York. ESPN New York and MSG Network are joining forces.
Big news, Jazz hands.
Start your mornings with DiPietro and Rothenberg, live on the MSG Network. Then stick around for Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg, live on MSG every afternoon.
We are beyond excited to start simulcasting on MSG Networks.
So think about this for a quick second. You got us in the morning, 6 to 10. You got our afternoon show, 3 to 7. And then right after that, you're talking Knicks, you're talking Rangers.
Yo, yeah. You wake up, you pop it on again, and there we are, waiting for you. Good morning.
ESPN New York and MSG Network, together like never before. It all starts Tuesday, September 8th.
When care matters most, experience matters more. The Allure Group is redefining rehabilitation and long-term care across New York with 6 convenient locations. Their expert clinicians create personalized care plans to help you recover, rebuild, and get back to what matters most. From short-term rehab to long-term care, Allure is committed to comfort, dignity, and results. To learn more, visit allurecare.com. The Allure Group, where care meets compassion.
Hi, this is Don LaGreca. Just like the New Jersey Devils bring intensity on the ice, Viking Pest Control brings the same level of protection to your home. And I know because I use Viking at my own place. The season may be over, but pests are always in play. So it's time to lock in your off-season defense. As the pest control provider and proud partner of the Devils, Viking delivers 45 years of trusted experience to keep ants, cockroaches, stinging insects, rodents, mosquitoes, and more out of your zone. And when you bundle pest control mosquito services, you score big savings. One call, one company, total peace of mind. Visit VikingPest.com. Protecting your home inside and out.
Winning football teams have a playbook. Winning businesses? They've got Robert Half. Because when your star player's out or the workload blitzes, you need the right move fast. That's where Robert Half's specialized recruiters, together with their award-winning AI technology, step in, matching companies with skilled contract talent across finance, tech, legal, and more. It's depth on your bench. It's keeping the drive alive. Visit roberthalf.com/talent. At Robert Half, we know talent.
Shohei Ohtani's interpreter was fired today. Ippei Mitsuhara ran up gambling debts to a Southern California bookmaking operation.
The inside story of the biggest scandal in modern baseball.
He was absolutely bananas, the amount of bets he was making. I've never seen anything like it.
From 30 for 30 podcasts, this is The Betrayal of Shohei Ohtani.
Presented by Gusto. New episodes available now. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
This is Carlin.
You know I am not that bright.
On ESPN New York.
Fat, bald, nasally, I got it.
And streaming live on YouTube.
You're welcome. Some of the comments coming in on the YouTube channel. Heard Donnie Pucks hit a grand slam. Wish we had video of that. That from CJ Skybox. Accurate. I believe it was a grand slam. I thought initially it was a 3-run homer, but I think it was a grand slam. Hit it off the roof of a with the concession stand. So he crushed it. I did leave out the fact that I homered as well, but whatever. That's fine. 3 ground balls right back to the box. That's certainly the much more impressive feat on my part. Also, when it comes to that particular event, everybody in Hawthorne does an amazing job, too, in helping to come out and support everybody. All the fans that come out from around, though, of the station, all the guys that listen, everybody who comes to that thing, we always appreciate the fact that you guys show up and you listen, because if you don't listen, you don't watch, I don't have a job. So that's never lost on me. 800-919-3776, 800-919-ESPN. It is Carlin with you until 1 p.m. today. The K-Ster coming up then. A story later why K-Ster is both the best and the worst at the same time. That coming later in the show. Stories of the day involving football. Number one, Cleveland. I cannot believe this is actually a story, but it is. Deshaun Watson will start week 1 for the Cleveland Browns, which is just the dumbest thing I have ever heard in my entire life, especially after what happened the other day and some of his comments.
Man, I didn't have no reaction. I think the biggest thing is, I think you guys know too, and I think the whole world knows, it has nothing to do about the performance. It's a little bit personal than that, so it's a disrespectful thing. I'm going to keep whatever I feel with me and my family internally on how I feel about that, and yeah, just move on. Last time I played on this field, I tore my Achilles, and that same fan base, they cheered when I got hurt. What does that have to do with anything about performance? Person get hurt, especially for your own city, and they cheer.
He's not wrong. When that happened and people were cheering, obviously those people are way out of line with that kind of behavior. However, having said that, for Deshaun Watson to not even acknowledge that in the 19 games he has actually played for the Cleveland Browns, he has been absolutely horrendous over the last 4 years and hasn't played enough for him to think that he's getting booed by Cleveland fans because of the off-the-field issues 5 years ago? No, that's not what's happening here. You're getting booed, Deshaun, because you have been a bad investment for the Cleveland Browns in their history. $252 million guaranteed, all the draft picks traded away. You initially told the Browns you didn't want to go there until they guaranteed every penny, and then you showed up, and over the course of 19 games in your career, you have thrown 17 touchdowns and thrown 12 interceptions in the entirety of your career. I'm sorry, 19 touchdowns and 12 interceptions over 19 games and 3,300 yards. You have been a complete nightmare in Cleveland for the Browns. A complete nightmare. Let's be clear about that. And the fact that the Browns are starting you, to me, it has to be coming down from Jimmy Haslam, the owner who made the stupid trade to begin with, paid him all the money, kept restructuring his money. They can't cut him now because if they cut him, it's $120-some million against the cap. But no, let's play Deshaun Watson some more when it's clear he doesn't want to play for the city anymore and the city doesn't want to see him play anymore, because if you watched him the other day, it was just flat out embarrassing. The guy cannot play. His career is over, yet somehow he is going to start in week 1. That cannot be Todd Monken's decision. Number 2, that's just the primary NFL story of the day, and that's where I begin this hour. There are also stories that I want to get into in and around the Jets and Giants. Number one with the Jets, Geno Smith doing exactly what you needed Geno Smith to do the other night when he played the one series. Now, leading into the game, Aaron Glenn had told us that it was his preference for starters to get somewhere around 30 snaps in the preseason. Now, Geno obviously didn't play in game number one with the ankle injury. I wonder if he'll play against the Giants on Friday. Don't know that as of yet. But in his one series the other day, he looked sharp enough. You could say 7 for 7. It wasn't really 7 for 7. He had a ball batted down at the line of scrimmage that an offensive lineman actually caught, but he led a good drive down the field to score a touchdown. The best thing that can happen for Geno Smith this season is that Cade Klubnik continues to push him. There are people in the Jets building that 100% believe that by the middle of the year, Cade Klubnik is going to be the starter for the Jets. And I would remind everybody that this is not the same as a Brady Cook type situation. As much as you want to just treat Klubnik as any other fourth-round quarterback, I would pay a little bit more attention to him than that. I have been on the Cade Brigade, or leading the Cade Brigade, if you will, for a few weeks now, not for him to start week one. I am not foolhardy enough to believe that that will ever happen. I am not the guy who's going to scream at you that he should start week one. Let's see what the kid's got. No, absolutely not. I am the guy that will tell you that at some point during the course of this season, Klubnik will start, but he won't start because the Jets' season is over and they just need to see what they have. He will start because at some point this season, he will be the better chance to win games than anything else. Certainly than Geno. And you might say that's a little bit crazy to say. I don't think it is. We had Dan Graziano on earlier, ESPN NFL insider, who spoke of Geno and mentioned the fact that, a lot of talent evaluators around the league believe that what happened to Geno last year had a lot more to do with the Raiders than it had to do with Geno when he threw, I think it was 17 touchdowns and 15 interceptions, something like that. He has thrown 32 interceptions over his last two seasons. What I would say to that is the Raiders' offensive line was atrocious, and Chip Kelly was the offensive coordinator who gets fired in the middle of the season, and that was obviously a complete mess. So there's no doubt that a lot of the blame should be shifted in that direction. But Geno doesn't get off the hook altogether for having thrown those interceptions. I know that we can tend to make a bigger deal about picks than maybe we should when guys are trying to make plays and don't really have any other option. I don't know that I believe that Geno is going to be the Jets' best chance to win this year for the entirety of the season. In fact, I know I don't believe that. I know that at some point, Klubnik's going to give you a better chance. Why should you not treat him like any other fourth-round pick? Because 2 years ago, Klubnik was somebody that many regarded as potentially the top quarterback in last year's draft, but was one of many that disappointed with their last year of play. As much as you want to give Geno the benefit of the doubt, remember this about Klubnik. 2 years ago at Clemson, he threw 36 touchdowns and had 6 picks. Last year, it was all the way down at 16-6. Clemson was not nearly as good last year. The thing I would tell you is that Clemson, many believed, coaches on opposing teams last year, that they completely were playing the wrong offensive system to play with Klubnik, and that had a major impact on his play last year and why it took such a hit. That's why, not completely, of course the quarterback has to take ownership, just like Geno does. That's why, though, when you knew that 2 years ago he was somebody that people felt like had the ability to be a number 1 overall pick, and then a year later he slides all the way down to the 4th round, you still have to believe that some of that ability is somewhere in there, don't you? I think you do. So I think as much as you want to give Gino the benefit of the doubt for last year, you probably have to give some of the benefit of the doubt to Klubnik as well for what happened in his last year at Clemson. Klubnik's got ability. He's had an impact, for sure, on that staff, who is very high on what they have seen from him. Now, was he as good in Game 2 as he was in Game 1? No, but he wasn't awful. I just would not write that thing off. And I would not say definitively that if he is the quarterback in the middle of the year, it's simply because the Jets season is over. I think it's possible. Because of what Frank Reich has done with rookie quarterbacks before. The guys with ability, what Frank Reich did with Carson Wentz, gave the Eagles enough belief that they could trade away Sam Bradford to play Wentz immediately, and that in year 2, Wentz was on his way to being the MVP of the league before he got hurt. Who was his offensive coordinator? It was Frank Reich. And Wentz also went to Indianapolis and statistically had a pretty good year a couple of years ago when Reich was still the quarterback there. These are all things to keep in mind. Do not rule out that by the middle of the season, Klubnik is going to give the Jets a better chance to win than Gino. Or at least there will be people in that building who believe that, because there already are many people in the building who believe that Klubnik will be the quarterback by the middle of the year. Having said all of that, I do not want to hear from the people who are just going to believe that they should play Klubnik because they should just go ahead and tank. I have heard some of that over the last week when I was on vacation, had conversations with Jet fans who were actually saying to me, yeah, listen, it's going to be another one of those years. I just want to make sure that we're in position to get our quarterback next year. Man, I can't believe that. 15 years without the playoffs, and that's still where we're headed? Still what we're talking about? Is trying to do everything we can to get in position to draft the quarterback? You've already got the 3 first-round picks. It does not have to be the number 1 overall pick. Please go through the drafts of the last 15 to 20 years and tell me the guys that were definitively the number 1 overall quarterback taken, or definitively the guys who were going to go someplace and be great no matter what the situation was. To my count, there's 2. Matthew Stafford, Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow took the Bengals to the Super Bowl. Matthew Stafford did everything he could in Detroit for the longest time, and now you're seeing when you put him around other guys that he was going to be even better when you had a lot of talent around him. But the point is, there aren't many of them. There's only 2 of them. Was Josh Allen going to be amazing if Brian Daboll didn't help him with his mechanics? I don't know that. I don't know that for sure. The athletic ability was certainly there, but he ended up in a pretty good situation to get himself straightened out. Was Lamar Jackson going to be an amazing quarterback? I mean, remember, the Ravens took him where they took him. At 32nd, they traded up to get him in the first round so they could have the 5th-year option. But the Ravens are an organization that is regarded as one of the best in the league. So he ended up in the perfect situation for development, and it worked out for him. Keep those things in mind. Don't worry about the draft. The draft for next year does not matter. Does not matter. The draft for next year is to worry about next year with your 3 picks in the first round, with your quarterback, with everything else. What matters this year is going and winning as many games as you can. Because the Jets have to be about winning at some point. They have to be. And this team is better. It's absolutely better. And they should be able to win more games. 800-919-3776. 800-919-ESPN. That, of course, is your warning that Richard from Manhattan is about to join us. So if you need to step aside for a moment, if you're making your lunch, if you're heating it up over in the company office cafeteria area, hopefully you're not heating up any sort of fish in the microwave and making life miserable for everybody else. Now is your time to do it. Hello, Richard.
Hi, Chris.
Hi.
Chris, a Yankee-Dodger World Series. Fried, Cole, Schlittler, Rodon, Snell, Yamamoto, Skubal, Ohtani will break the record ever for a World Series. I am telling you,
what record will it break?
Attendance, viewership on TV, everything, everything. It would be unbelievable. And it'll do a lot to solve what's going to go on next year in the baseball. I'm telling you that.
I don't know about that part of it, but I understand what you're saying.
Oh, boy. You know, Baez, the kid from St. Louis, he started 3 for 3, 3 home runs.
3 home runs.
First 3 at-bats.
Yep.
Since that time, he's 2 for 36. So let's say he goes something like 2 for 50, which I don't know if it's ever been done 2 for 50. Maybe, probably.
I thought you were going to hit me with, how about the guys like Pete Crow Armstrong, who not only hit a leadoff home run, but then a walk-off home run in the same game, and then hit a leadoff home run the next day.
Wow, I didn't see that.
There were 2 of them this weekend. Yeah. It never happened before in baseball history, and it happened twice in the last week.
Wow, that is good. Okay.
Look at
now,
this.
I got another one. Now,
Richard.
Here's a good one for you, Chris.
Okay.
You would think Tampa and Milwaukee have the best records in baseball. Are you? You would say that, correct? With percentage-wise.
Well, yeah.
They don't. Nope, they don't. With a technicality. Here's my technicality. Ugh. Since Tracy took over Boston and Mattingly took over Philly, their percentage points on those teams, Philly and Boston, are better than what Milwaukee and Tampa are doing all season. That's how good those 2 managers. Can you imagine? They were both brought in, those 2 guys. The teams fired 2 World Series winning managers, and both were really in a bad way. And if they lead their teams to the World Series, Boston, Philly World Series, that would be, to me, almost as incredible as what the Mets did in '69, if that would have happened. Right now, they're definitely the front runners for managers of the year. I'd put them over the guys from Chicago.
Well, you're talking about, first of all, the Phillies fired Rob Thompson, and Thompson didn't win the World Series.
He won a World Series with them, didn't he?
No.
Oh, he didn't win a World Series.
No, he went to a World Series. He didn't win one. You ever in life find yourself in the weeds where you just get so far down into a topic or something that you're reading about or researching that you can't get out of your own way? That's what I feel like sometimes with Richard, that we get so far into the weeds that I need a weed whacker. That you just look down, you look up, and I can't even figure out how the hell we got in there. Talking to Richard is like the phone call version of Vietnam. I have no idea how the hell we got in there, and I have no idea how to get out of it. How about Doug down in South Florida? Oh, hello, Doug. How are you, brother?
Good, Chris. How you doing, man?
I'm great. What's going on?
You know, I love your I love your analysis for for Klubnik. I really feel that maybe the Jets have hit on an actual quarterback who could grow into being a starting quarterback, and they don't have to go into the draft. And maybe they can just.
Listen,
draft.
It's a dream scenario that the Jets could actually go into the draft next year and not have to take a quarterback. That would be amazing.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Having 3 number 1 picks, I mean, they had 4 in, 2000? Yep. And Pennington was drafted, number 18 or 17,
it wasn't the first one, but yeah, they took him later in the first round.
He ended up to be the best one they've had.
I think you can honestly say Chad Pennington has been the best Jet quarterback for the last 40 years.
I would say yes.
I mean,
well, except for
Kenny O'Brien,
except for Vinny's couple of years.
That's true. Vinny did have a good couple of years.
Vinny was terrific. If he hadn't, torn his Achilles tendon, who knows what would have been 99. I think they might have won it all. They were primed to do it, but it is what it is. But
listen, Doug, I will be the first to tell you that it's a dream scenario. Is it likely to be the case? I can't tell you that it's likely to be the case that they're going to be able to go into the offseason and say, we've got our quarterback, it's Cade Klubnik. I doubt that they will be there. But I would love for it to be the case.
Me too, because I like the Cade's Brigade. I hate the gangrene. I like the Cade's Brigade.
I think it'll be good. I will lead the Cade Brigade. Ashman has got the Chubb for Club thing. You can have that. Good. You can have that. I don't work blue. All right? I keep it family friendly. It's the Cade Brigade. Now, when I say it's unlikely that the Jets can definitively say at the end of this year that Cade Klubnik is their guy, what I mean is by the middle of the season, he may give them a better chance to win than Geno. That doesn't mean he's their guy. What it means is that he will have the chance to play better and to show what he can do over a 6, 7, 8 game period. But you would have to be lights out during that stretch to think that you have your guy after that. I still, right now, with the Giants, I think Jackson Dart is it, but I can't even definitively say they have their guy. And I think any Giant fan who's saying that is still in the wishful thinking department. 800-919-3776. This year determines if Jackson Dart is definitively your guy. Hey, big news. Big news. Big news. New York sports fans, you're welcome. DiPietro and Rothenberg and Hahn and Rosenberg are coming to MSG Networks starting Tuesday, September the 8th. Catch our morning and afternoon shows simulcasted across MSG Networks television and digital platforms. You can still catch us on 880 AM on the ESPN New York app, on YouTube, and more. But we're beyond excited to start simulcasting on MSG Networks, which will give our shows an even bigger platform to reach our fans. Don't miss out. It's all starting September 8th on MSG Networks. 800-919-3776. Still to come, why Michael K. is the best and the worst at the same time. Carlin, ESPN New York.
This is Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg.
There needs to be an intervention.
I agree.
And this is coming from a Met fan, and I get it. I'm not telling you to get rid of Mr. Met. He's a part of the fabric of the Mets, but you don't have to make him a part of every damn thing you do. The kids love it. Great. But when Senga's established himself as a closer, Steve Gelbis is trying to break news, we don't need to dance in Mr. Met as if like he's vital to everything that's going on.
Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg. Weekdays at 3 on 880 ESPN and the ESPN New York app.
There you were, surrounded by fans. Everybody remembers the game. Nobody remembers the guy coughing behind you. Till a few days later, at 2 a.m., you wake up with a fever and your throat's on fire. Now what? Urgent care? Closed. ER? Slammed. Telehealth? Maybe, but the pharmacy's closed. You needed a medical emergency kit. These aren't first aid kits. They contain essential prescriptions used for over 30 common conditions. Sinus and ear infection, UTIs, stomach bugs, traveler's diarrhea, and more on hand before you need them. Use your doctor-developed guidebook to select the right prescription or call their telemedicine doctor standing by. It's like an urgent care and drugstore at home. When you're sick, traveling, or stranded, you'll wish you'd ordered a medical emergency kit. Order online in minutes and it's shipped to your door. And save $45 with my promo code 880 at urgentcarekit.com/880. That's promo code 880 at urgentcarekit.com/880.
At City Harvest, we believe no New Yorker has to go hungry. With your help, we're on the road 365 days a year, rescuing over 77 million pounds of nutritious food and delivering it free to millions of New Yorkers, transforming surplus food into sustenance, sustainability, and smiles, rallying thousands of New Yorkers to power a network of nourishment across our city. One day, one meal, and one New Yorker at a time. That's how we feed good. Donate at cityharvest.org.
We are moving now.
Electric bikes are everywhere. They are quiet and very fast. Teens ride them on the roads, in bike lanes, but also in places they should not be, like sidewalks and parks.
Look out!
When you ride, wear a helmet. Don't speed. Watch out for pedestrians and cars. New York State and your community have specific rules for electric bikes. Follow them. Go to trafficsafety.ny.gov for more info. A message brought to you by the Governor's Traffic Safety Committee.
Monkey Sports, built by players for players, is your one-stop shop for hockey, baseball, lacrosse, and more. Find top-name equipment and expert in-store services like sharpening, break-ins, and relacing. Shop in-store at Monkey Sports in Farmingdale or Woodbridge or online for all the top brands. Whatever your sports, Monkey Sports gets you game ready fast. Monkey Sports, where athletes shop.
Summer isn't over yet. On Saturday, August 29th, the Red Bulls face the Philadelphia Union at Sports Illustrated Stadium for Anime Night, presented by New Jersey Lottery. Arrive early for the Boulevard at 4 p.m. for food trucks, games, family fun, and a free match day poster while supplies last. When gates open, fans can grab one of 10,000 UGO card packs. Kickoff is at 7:30 p.m. Bring your crew and make it a night to remember. Get tickets at NewYorkRedBulls.com.
Progressive presents ways to save money that aren't bundling your home and auto insurance with Progressive.
I can't believe the deal we got on these seats for the game.
Wow, they must be pretty high up here. I think my ears just popped.
Yeah, here, put this on.
Is that an oxygen mask?
An official team oxygen mask.
Well, I can kind of see the field.
Good, your senses are still sharp. You're going to need them for phase 2 of the ascent.
Don't save money by sitting in the nosebleeds. You could save hundreds by switching to Progressive. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Your ambition just met its match with Robinhood. You push yourself in everything you do, scanning headlines for insights, keeping an eye on the market. Robinhood puts you in control of your money, all on one platform. You expect more from yourself. Expect more from your money. Get started today at Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Again, that's Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Your money, your move.
ESPN New York and MSG Network are joining forces.
Big news, Jazz hands.
Start your mornings with DiPietro and Rothenberg, live on the MSG Network. Then stick around for Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg, live on MSG every afternoon.
We are beyond excited to start simulcasting on MSG Networks.
So think about this real quick second. You got us in the morning 6 to 10. You got our afternoon show 3 to 7. And then right after that, you're talking Knicks, you're talking Rangers.
Yo, yeah. You wake up, you pop it on again, and there we are, waiting for you. Good morning.
ESPN New York and MSG Network, together like never before. It all starts Tuesday, September 8th.
Eric Probst on the chat. Why is Carlin still on? It's not like he's interesting. He was just there to keep things on track, time and topic-wise. No way I listen to just Carlin. Carlin, that's me. Not very interesting. ESPN New York, or as we were just talking about, Anthony Pusick and I, maybe my personal mantra should be Carlin. It's not nothing. 800-919-ESPN, 800-919-3776. I will get back to the calls in just a moment. We'll also include more of your comments over on the ESPN New York chat. Eitan Tomlinson, I must have been watching the wrong Clemson team. Clemson was bad last year. They were not very good for what they have been over the last several years. But Klubnik, from talking to people who were game planning and going up against Clemson last year, coaches and such, they could not believe, a couple of them, what Clemson was doing offensively with Klubnik as their quarterback. They felt like it really did not do him a service in getting him ready for the league. And I think that is really interesting to me when you're trying to evaluate a guy who went from 36 touchdowns and 6 interceptions to 16-6. How do you see that far of a drop-off? I don't know the answer to that, but I have to believe that coaching played a role. I'm not going to absolve the player at all from that, but I have to believe that coaching played a role in it. The New York Red Bulls take on the Philadelphia Union Saturday, August 29th at Sports Illustrated Stadium for Anime Night, presented by the New Jersey Lottery. Arrive early at the Boulevard at 4 p.m. for food trucks, games, family fun, and a free match day poster while supplies last. When gates open, the first 10,000 fans can secure a Yu-Gi-Oh! Card pack for your chance to win a family 4-pack of tickets. Enter now at ESPNNewYork.com or through the ESPN New York app. Kickoff is set for 7:30 p.m. Bring your crew and make it a night to remember. Get your tickets today at NewYorkRedBulls.com. Mustafa in Jamaica, Queens is up next. ESPN New York. Mustafa, what's going on, bud?
Chris, what up, man?
How you doing, brother?
Chilling. This is Moose formerly. I retired the nickname Moose. I'm going with my government now.
Why retire Moose? Why the nickname? It's a good nickname.
The nickname derives from the fact that in elementary school, those years in my neighborhood in Briarwood, Queens, I was known as somebody who would beat people up at the park and stick up for
All right,
people.
that's probably a good way to get away from that. It's probably a good idea to get away from that.
It's just
then.
that
Yeah.
I got it from a pizzeria, and with the current situation of what's happening with certain political and I don't want to have any pizza things associated with me because rumors are spreading. You know how internet comes up with lies. Anyway, getting back on topic, let's not get anybody fired.
Okay.
The Jets, as David,
I don't even know what we're talking about, but okay.
Always. Anyway, as the eloquent Pizzagate. Anyway, as he eloquently said, I just want the Jets to move the football, score points, because look at it. Realistically, any Jets fan that says they're going to win 7 or 8 games, according to the internet, according to the bookies, according to the bookmakers, they're only favored in 4 or 5 games. Their over-under is 5.5. For them to win, realistically, in terms of the permutations of the probability, for them to win 7 games, they would have to beat Miami at home, probably lose to them on the road, beat Cleveland and or Arizona or Vegas, and then clip 3 or 4 other teams of the 13 they're playing that are all playoff, if not Super Bowl contenders. Realistically, what is the probability of that happening?
All right, well, first of all, you got to beat Miami twice. Let's be clear about that. And because
historically, the Jets always drop the ball in Miami.
I know, but I'm telling you, Miami is really
terrible.
bad.
They're terrible, but
they're really bad.
They're terrible. Terrible.
Yes. They're not a good team. It's going to be a long year for the Dolphins for sure. So the Jets, if you're going to improve, you have to beat them twice. You have to beat them twice. There's no debate about that. So if your Jets are getting to 7, I mean, we've talked about this. We can do it again if you want. But if the Jets are getting to 7, they have to win the games that they're supposed to win. And I mean, that's pretty simple. I know it's usually not the case when we're talking about the Jets, but you have to beat Tennessee. You have to beat Cleveland. You have to beat Miami twice. You have to beat the Raiders. You have to win at Arizona. What does that get us there? Tennessee, Cleveland, Miami twice, Raiders, Arizona gets you to 6. And then you need to get one of those other games, whether it's Green Bay at home, at Chicago, one of the New England games. I'm not going to say one of the Buffalo games. I don't think that's likely. Listen, it's not at Minnesota at home. Maybe you beat Buffalo in Week 18 if it means nothing to Buffalo. Maybe. But if you're going to win 7 games, you have to beat Miami twice. Listen, you can't lose to Miami this year if you're the Jets. You just can't. You've got them where you want them for this season. There's no way that you can afford to lose to Miami. Hey, Lodi, New Jersey, are you ready? Monkey Sports is bringing the ultimate sports destination to your neighborhood. Join Team ESPN at Monkey Sports Saturday, August 29th. It is the grand opening celebration. It's all starting at 9 a.m., 240 Route 17 South in Lodi, New Jersey. Meet brand experts. Check out the latest sports gear and win ESPN swag. Whether you're a player, parent, coach, or fan, there is something for everyone at Monkey Sports. Don't miss the biggest grand opening of the year. It is Monkey Sports, Lodi, New Jersey, Route 17, 240 Route 17 South, to be specific, in Lodi. Carlin, ESPN New York, and on the ESPN New York YouTube channel. I don't know what's going on right now with me to the fact that I cannot stay asleep to save my life. And for anybody who has ever had this problem, you have my ultimate sympathies. Now, listen, I'm not going to lie to you. There have been some things this summer that have been challenging. You can probably figure out what some of them have been. But there have been some other things going on personally that have been challenging as well. But I am in this zone right now where I will get to sleep, but then at 2 o'clock in the morning, maybe 3, I will wake up and I am up for 2.5 hours, and might get to sleep for another half hour before I get up to drive in. So I'm usually out the door. I try to be out the door between 6:30 and 6:45. I am just in a mess of a situation right now when it comes to my sleep. And I don't know what the hell's going on. I have taken the damn melatonin, which gives you just the craziest nightmares. At least it gives it to me. The craziest dreams. Last night I'm taking magnesium glycinate, which did, jack squatinate for me. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. I can't take the Tylenol PM, because then when you take the Tylenol PM, if you take it for more than 2 days, you basically are never getting to sleep again if you don't take it. And that's obviously not what you want to do. I don't want to take Xanax or anything else just to get to sleep. I'm not above it, but I'd prefer to not do that. I cannot get anywhere. And I have friends who have, I almost called it amnesia, insomnia, that have this same thing, that they will wake up, they might sleep 2, 3, 4 hours a night, maybe, but they'll wake up and they're just walking around the house and they function like it's a normal thing. I texted a friend this morning at 4 a.m. And ironically, they didn't text back, so they might have been asleep. But point being, I know that they have problems sleeping and trying to find ways to navigate their way through this. What the hell am I doing wrong? Somebody please tell me, because I cannot get out of my own way. And let's be real about my life. It's not like I have got the weight of the world on my shoulders as the fat kid sitting over here in the sandbox of life. All right? I understand where we are. in the grand scheme. What the hell's going on here? I would not mind hearing from you on this at 800-919-3776 at 800-919-ESPN. Carlin, try CBD gummies. I haven't gone down that route yet. Although, I will tell you, driving up in Sussex County last week, my wife and I went up to Crystal Springs, which is just beautiful. Crystal Springs Resort, the Grand Cascades Lodge and Minerals. And I say that as somebody that paid full boat on the whole thing. Played a little golf, a little spa situation for my wife. It was great to get away for a couple of days. There was the greatest dispensary I've ever seen in my life up in Sussex County. In terms of the name, it's a gas station with a dispensary. Gas and grass. Brilliant. Brilliant. Carlin, ESPN New York. Coming up, why Michael Kay is not only the best, but the worst at the same time.
This is the Michael Kay Show.
Take a look around Major League Baseball, and the Yankees are a lot closer to perfect than most of the teams that are supposedly real championship contenders. And I'll say this with no equivocation whatsoever. If the Yankees were healthy with their running it back philosophy that everybody kicked around, they'd be running it back and running over the competition.
The Michael Kay Show, weekdays at 1 on ESPN New York and streaming live on YouTube. Presented by the Parisman Firm.
1-877 Cards for Kids. KARS Cards for Kids. 1-877 Cards for Kids. Donate your card today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Ready to get rid of that old car? Donate it to Cars for Kids. Call 877 Cars for Kids to speak to a friendly live agent. Donation is super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Go to carsforkids.org now or call 877 Cars for Kids to donate your car today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids.
Did you know you can donate real estate too? Go to carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K.
Hey, it's Peter Rosenberg. This summer, I made a decision. Instead of just living with my pain, I wanted to find out what was actually causing it. That's why I went to see Dr. Jay Shah at Samwell Pain. What I liked right away was his approach. He takes the time to understand what's going on and builds a treatment plan that's right for you without jumping straight to surgery. If you're dealing with back pain, neck pain, sciatica, or joint pain, it's worth having the conversation. With offices in Woodbridge, Livingston, and Inglewood, getting care is convenient no matter where you are. Go to samwellpain.com to learn more or schedule an appointment.
Hey, New York and New Jersey, Boost Mobile has an unlimited talk, text, and data plan that's only $25 a month forever, meaning you'll only ever pay $25 a month for the rest of your life. Who wouldn't want unlimited wireless when it only costs $25 a month forever? If you don't, you must be one of those people who enjoy overpaying for their phone plan. $25 a month forever is truly as good as it gets, so go online and switch now at boostmobile.com. After 30 gigabytes, customers may experience slower speeds. Customers will pay $25 a month as long as they remain active on the Boost Mobile Unlimited plan.
Tricon Construction is growing across New Jersey, delivering larger, more complex commercial projects with the precision today's developers expect. Because when the timelines, capital, and reputation are all on the line, you need more than a contractor. You need a true construction partner. Tricon brings experienced leadership, disciplined project management, and a team built around accountability and execution. From planning to completion, they build with purpose, professionalism, and pride. For serious commercial projects, build with Tricon. Visit triconbuilds.com. That's triconbuilds.com.
Rich Eisen here. We talk a lot about battles in sports. Teams battling through adversity, athletes fighting for every yard. The toughest warriors I've ever seen, though, aren't on the field. They're kids fighting cancer. Their families standing beside them. Doctors, nurses, caregivers. That's why I'm proud to support Hyundai Hope on Wheels. For over 28 years, they've helped fund pediatric cancer research, raising more than $303 million and supporting over 40,000 children. Learn more and donate at HyundaiUSA.com/Hope on Wheels.
Hot damn! Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea just got harder with Twisted Tea Extreme. The hard iced tea taste you know and love, but with an 8% kick of alcohol. Twisted Tea Extreme is made with real brewed tea, goes down smooth, and brings your daytime drinking to the next level. Just look for the bright yellow cans in the cooler and get ready to dial up the fun. Big flavor, extreme kick. Twisted Tea Extreme. Keep it twisted!
Twisted Tea Brewing Company, Cincinnati, Ohio. Please drink responsibly.
Congratulations, New York. The Knicks did it. Through battle after battle, they dominated to become this year's NBA champions. Day in and day out, the hard work paid off, and you were there every step of the way. Enjoy the crown. Own it, because this year is your year. A part of your legacy that will never be forgotten. So celebrate this moment, show your pride, and shop the largest selection of official NBA gear at NBAstore.com. A Fanatics experience.
All right, quickly, let's get Robin and Yonkers up on ESPN New York. Robin, what's going on?
Hey, Carlin, how you doing?
I'm a little tired, Robin. That's how I'm doing. How you doing?
I'm about the same. I don't wake up at 2 o'clock, but I usually don't get too much sleep. So years ago, a doctor I was seeing, he said to take something called ashwagandha.
Ashwagandha?
Yeah, it's ashwag and then, or ashwa and then ganda.
2 words?
Nope.
1 word?
Yep.
Ashwagandha.
Yep. And if you Google
Is that a strain of weed?
No. No.
And if I what?
If you Google it, you'll get the spelling right away.
All right. It's from what?
They told me that it would help relax me to sleep, but I'm looking at it on Google here, and it says manages stress and anxiety, blood sugar levels, better memories, sleep quality. There you go.
All right. Well, I'll give it an ashwagandha. Listen, I'll try anything. Michael Kay's the best, and he's the worst, and he's with us right now. Hi.
How's that possible? How could you be the best and the worst?
Because this is how special you are. Let's tell you, which do you want to know first, why you're the best or why you're the worst?
I'd like to know why I'm the worst.
Okay. I'm looking over the weekend yesterday, and you did an interview recently in which you said you will not be calling Yankee games into your 80s.
First of all,
yeah.
Thanks to Awful Announcing for putting up a headline that it said I had zero intent. I never said that. I said God laughs at those that don't make plans. I don't think I'm going to live till my 80s. But you never say never. That's what I said.
Okay. Because they're going to pry that microphone out of your cold, dead hands.
No, that's not true. That is not true.
All right. No, but having said, that's not why you're the worst.
Okay.
In this same interview, headline, Michael K. shocked WFAN or ESPN New York haven't offered Mike Francesa a new show. What are you doing to me here?
What
I'm holding on. I don't know. Who do you think is the first to go if that happens? It's happened before. You're trying to do it to me again? I mean, first of all, I'm having major problems sleeping. That would take care of him if we put him back on the air. But secondly, I don't need you, the guy who couldn't stand him for 40 years, sitting here and advocating for the station to hire him. What are you doing to me?
Well, first of all, I never thought I was doing anything to you. I think that your position is quite secure because you're probably the most talented radio host on the show. On the whole station.
That's nice. Let's pretend for a minute like that's really translated before.
But I really believe that FAN or even us should put him on any kind of
I would pray that FAN would hire him and put him on from 10 to 1.
Oh, so you want to kick his butt?
Yes.
Oh,
absolutely, I want to kick his ass.
Interesting.
But I don't need you advocating to hire him.
First of all,
because if they hire him, somebody's got to go. And who do you think it is? Chunky over here is going to be the first one on the chopping block.
Do you think they listen to one word to what I say?
I think that you don't need to plant any seeds for anybody, okay?
All right, I apologize.
So let's just stick to the Bet Rivers and let him do his little podcast, okay? That's fine.
I'm sorry that rubbed you the wrong way. Maybe that's why you're not sleeping.
I don't know what it is. I'm not. And here's the other thing. Everybody's telling me.
Do you drink caffeine?
I do, but only in the morning.
Well, don't do it.
That's the only time.
Well, stop.
But it's never affected me before the last couple of weeks. It's just been happening the last few weeks.
Well, I hate to say this. I know the children are listening, but if you do the, you and your wife right before bed, you get tired.
Can I get you on the phone with her later?
Sure.
Because the way things are, one would suggest that she's already either had the world's longest headache or she's already pretty tired of me.
You know the way to stop that stuff, right? Marriage.
You're the best. Here's why you're the best.
All right, tell me.
You have no idea how sick I was to text you on Saturday morning. So for everybody who does, I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago. Michael was generous enough for Eric LeGrand's golf outing, and he raises money for the Christopher and Dana Reeve Foundation, to donate Michael's personal 2 tickets and a trip to the booth before the game to meet Michael and whoever else was doing the game with him on a particular day. And
Paulie O'Neill.
Paul O'Neill, for Pete's sake, on Saturday. And so the agreed-upon date was Saturday. Saturday morning, I get an email from the individual who won, a gentleman named Elliot, and he says, I haven't gotten the tickets yet. He was supposed to get them Saturday around 11 a.m. And I'm like, okay.
Right about then, it's sphincter tightening time,
Yeah,
right?
it is. And I'm just thinking, like, here's the last thing I want to do. The last thing I want to do is text Michael and say, hey, he hasn't gotten his tickets. And Michael's getting ready to do a game, the New York freaking Yankees, and all this. And I find out that the problem is that I gave you the wrong email address.
Right, and that's the only thing that annoyed me.
And
because I wanted
should
to
be
choke
so
you out
annoyed.
at that point.
You should have been so annoyed that I
The
spelled
guy's name
Elliot.
was Elliot. He spelled it with 1 L when it's with 2.
I know. And
Clown shoes. Clown shoes.
Clown shoes is fair. Clown shoes is 100% fair. So here's the point. Michael's got to deal with me before he's getting ready to do a game. These 2 people are sitting in traffic. They don't have their tickets. And this whole thing is because Chunky over here can't spell. And he sends out an email address with 1 L in Elliot instead of 2. And the next thing I know, but Michael, what does he say? Oh, yeah, no problem. I'll get this. I think they can probably take care of it. That's no problem. Yeah, text later, 5 minutes later. Yeah, it's done. All good. Get an email from the people at the same time. It's done. Done at noon.
But you're saying I'm the best, right?
I'm saying you're the best.
That behind the scenes, I was cursing you out.
I can't, and you would have been well within your rights to do that in front of the scenes. You should have been cursing me out, because if somebody did that to me, and I've had it happen, I would be so aggravated. But our whole text exchange, with the exception of the picture you sent me, I would be more than happy to publish to show just how gracious you are in dealing with that kind of a situation. Of course,
I'm curious though if Francesa would have spelled it right.
I can tell you this: Francesa would not have donated it to begin with. Or if he did, he would not have been as gracious with the folks in the booth.
But you know what would have been? You know what made it all palatable to me?
What's that?
The 2 people were delightful. Really, really nice people, and the guy's wife was really pretty. Really.
So
pretty.
all the cursing stopped the second she walked through the door.
Oh, everything was better. And he was a great guy, too.
He is a very, very good guy.
They have a whole Brady Bunch thing going.
I don't know what's going on there, but God bless them. They got 19 kids, okay?
They were so nice.
And they were very complimentary of you. But I can't thank you enough for... You should have been cursing me out. You should have called me and just said, go F yourself. This is on you.
Now, he's painting me as a good guy.
Yes.
But what we did, I'll let you behind the scenes. And my son came to work with me that day. So he sits next to me, watches how I do the job. I love the fact that I have a son that really likes what I do. And he's watching everything. And so I said to the 2 people, Elliot and his pretty wife, I said, let's take a picture and flip off Carlin. And so the 2 people, let's do that. And my 11-year-old son, Charlie, goes, Dad, don't do that. That picture's going to be out there. Don't do that. And I said, I've got to do it, Charlie. So now he looks down at me because I did that. But we did send that picture to Chris to show, because they were upset and I was upset.
And I was just feeling like such a freaking loser to begin with, because I can't stand bugging you for stuff to begin with, and then that happens. Because I realized that I spelled Elliot wrong. You dummy.
Really sad.
Thank you again for dealing with that. But it goes to those, you put on this face sometimes like you're this awful guy, and you are just the best. You are the best.
Thank you. But you know what I always say, and this is going to sound awful.
What's that?
So there's so many people in social media land that despise me.
And they're the worst. Right? They don't know you.
I'm the absolute worst. And all I say, and I think you could back me up right now the way you're feeling, I'd like to meet every single one of them. And if they met me, Chris, they would say I'm a delight.
They would absolutely say that you were a delight. They would absolutely say that. Even Elliot said to me leading in, really, I've heard this guy's a complete jerk. And I'm like, no, you're going to love him. And what did he say? I love him.
And he also said he had a lot of Met fan friends, right? And so I said, they must hate my gut. He was so cool, this guy. He turned to me and goes, oh, they hate you.
He didn't say that to me beforehand. But listen, thank you again. You're the best, and I'm really sorry, and I need 2 for tomorrow. Thanks.
Well, I would, what happens if the Yankees play the Texas Rangers in the playoffs? You're going to be bothering me then?
I don't know. That would be fraudulent of me to do that.
Well, first of all, I don't get free tickets for the...
Well, I don't want free tickets. I don't ever want free tickets.
Nobody wants free tickets.
No, I never want free tickets from anybody. And the only reason I asked you was because this was for charity. That was it.
I did it for Eric LeGrand, not for you.
Yes. Breen did the same thing. Hopefully I'd spell Elliot right next time with him.
And Breen would like to meet Elliot and his pretty wife, too.
Have an awesome show. Thank you again.
Go to sleep.
That's Michael Kay. He is coming up next on ESPN New York.
If you've been injured in an accident that wasn't your fault, then you need a lawyer who knows New York's unique personal injury and workers' compensation laws. At the Parisman Firm, they have decades of experience handling all types of accident cases and a proven track record of delivering huge results. Their team has already recovered nearly $1 billion for injured New Yorkers. From construction to car accidents and slips and falls, they've got you covered. Call the Parisman Firm now at 718-WORKERS, where